What do you mean you don't do Fahrenheit? Explain.
Well, I was born and raised in the other part of the world that uses like the real temperature system.
The real units of measurement
that you Americans don't use for whatever backwards reason.
So when you hear that it's 77 and sunny in Columbus, Ohio, your brain does what?
Well, I've lived here long enough now, and I've known about America long enough to kind of like know what that generally feels like. You know, but I couldn't tell you, like, if someone asks me, like, hey, what's the temperature like? I'm going to be like, I'm going to say 20, and you're not going to know what I mean. So just pull out your phone and check yourself.
So what's
before
like
you
a
wreck
good,
yourself.
What's like a good temperature in Celsius? Like a comfortable, like what you're, you know, where are you most comfortable?
Oh, like a good autumn day, like sweater weather, like hoodie weather kind of a feeling, you know, like going to watch the football game Friday night, like 15 degrees. 14 to 16 degrees is like good.
Oh, guys, it's 15 degrees out. This is so awesome.
Dude, it's like I don't even remember what the formula is to convert Celsius to Fahrenheit and vice versa.
Yeah, same here.
It's like some whack ass like decimal.
There's no like real reason. I'd love to know the reasons behind why Fahrenheit is the thing, because it just seems like Celsius makes sense. 0 is frozen, 100's boiling water.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard good arguments for like I've gotten to many arguments about whether Fahrenheit or Celsius is the right way to go, and a lot of my friends say that Fahrenheit makes more sense because like there's how do you phrase this? There's a lot of ways to know the difference. Like if I tell you it's in the 70s or if I tell you it's in the 80s, that means two very different things, right? Like in your head, you can kind of think of the difference. Whereas in Celsius, it's like if I tell you it's 22 degrees or if I tell you it's 24 degrees, that's like a difference. But like that sounds so minute. Like I can't say in Celsius, oh, it's in the 20s, because that could either mean a nice breezy spring day or like living in Arizona.
I see. So like just 2 degrees difference would be pretty massive.
Right. So it makes
sense.
sense.
I'd assume you guys use decimals a lot then.
Yeah.
Okay. It's 19.4 degrees out today, with a low of 18.7.
Oh, that's weird. But also, like, our entire U.S. measurement system does not make any sense. So
no, it's
whatever.
really ridiculous.
I still don't remember how many feet are in a mile.
5,286? Is that it?
I don't know if it's right, but you've been brainwashed.
Wow. Rain Man over here.
Was that it?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Oh.
Yeah, you say anything with confidence, people will believe it.
I know the first number is a 5.
Good talk, guys.
5,000 something, man. I'm pretty sure that's it. But whatever.
All right. So, yeah. So 17 degrees is comfortable as per Robert.
Yep.
Yes. So, guys, I was on the old Twitter today, and I saw a tweet to which Nintendo's official Nintendo of America account replied to, excuse me. So go ahead. I sent a screenshot to these tweets in our chat. So go ahead and open that up, and I want you guys to see it. Read the first one.
Oh my sweet baby Jesus.
So if you would please read them out loud and then describe what you're seeing.
Go ahead.
All right.
Wow, this is real.
God, I can't even process what I'm looking at. Okay, so the ESRB, that ratings board that's all serious, they've tweeted, "We don't ban things. That said, we're in the process of developing disclosure materials for #dabbing.
Wow.
Period. We are hip."
Whoa. Hello, fellow teens.
To which Nintendo of America replied to and said, "Dabbing is E for everyone," with this wonderful photo of a man dressed as Mario in my nightmares. Dabbing.
Like in a suit. Yeah. Dude.
How do you do, my fellow kids?
I mean, is this in response to all those gifs of like Luigi dabbing?
Right. I have no idea. All I know is I don't know if it's just amazing or if it's just weird.
It's fascinating on really horrific levels.
Like
if you could say the wild Nintendo on the Twitter, just like it's like, dude, weird. I don't know, man.
The ESRB and Nintendo are trying to be cool here, guys. We should
I commend them.
Wow. Yeah.
But the ESRB stems so hard from being uncool.
I can't wait for the Mario Brothers and 21 Savage crossover mixtape.
Yo, can you imagine a world where like a game comes out in the next 5 year rated T for dabbing?
Oh my
dude.
God.
That is one of the worst photos I've ever seen because he's not even like leaning into it. It's very half-assed dab.
No.
And where
dude,
is
rated
he?
M
He's
because
like
of drug use because dabbing is drugs. It's drugs.
Dabbing's not for the children. That's terrible. That's terrible uses of Twitter accounts right there. If I can say so. Oh, I want that off the timeline, dude.
I thought you guys would get a kick out of that, man.
It's pretty
I'm
good.
still in disbelief that it happened.
Yeah.
Wow. So this is just today.
Yep, today.
Oh right.
Man.
There's what's wrong with the world where this is actually what's coming out? No, I have no words. I'm not a dabber, guys. I'm not a professional dabber. I'm sorry.
Here's the
only
question.
dabbing I do is in bingo.
My
I
God.
dab my bingo cards.
Here's the question though. Is there going to be a rating for like if there's a fidget spinner in the game? Like would that be cause for concern to some parents?
Rated T for too trendy.
Rated T for trendy.
This is so bad. This is so bad.
Oh my God.
Why,
dude,
Nintendo? No one asked for Nintendo to be cool like this.
Dude, vapes, dabbing, like
Rated M
hoverboards
for-
and games.
Rated M for vaping.
Yeah,
Vape
exactly.
will never be a Nintendo because
Fidget
that's
spinners.
like smoking related, right?
Yeah.
So that'll never be.
I mean, like League of Legends, they like not fully redesigned, but there's one of their characters who like smokes, and there was one small point where they just like kind of just took away the cigar, like without really saying anything. It's just like, nope, he doesn't have a cigar because smoking's bad. And then
Well, speaking of that, actually, Disney did the same thing a while back. They went back and like washed out basically all like references to tobacco use in all of their current and former cartoons. Like
Right.
they were just it was a news story for a while. It was a long time ago, but they were like, yeah, they're taking all references to tobacco use out of their cartoons, and I think like Cartoon Network and Nickelodeon like followed suit with that too.
well, to be fair, it's not the worst thing Disney's had to roll back on in their former cartoons.
Yeah, they have a long storied history of putting some really questionable things in their stuff.
Yeah.
Put it that way.
Yeah, let's
Song
leave it
of
at
the South, anyone?
Let's leave it at that.
Yeah. No, I mean like the cover of Little Mermaid, there's stuff in Aladdin, there's stuff in almost all the movies you think of your childhood. There's some really like inappropriate stuff there. Mm-hmm. If you know where to look.
Yeah. So welcome to the Tiny Disc Podcast, a show about games and life. I'm Robert Scarpanito, and I'm joined here by Jack Cepeda.
Bong bong. Hello, everybody.
And good old Colin Sparlin.
Hello.
And I want to talk to you guys about the Death Note Netflix movie.
This is a thing, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. So to preface this for you viewers at home, Jack doesn't know what Netflix or what Netflix.
I don't know what is this
what
Netflix thing? Yeah, what is this flicks on the net?
He doesn't.
I don't get it, guys. What?
He doesn't know.
Full House is on the internet now?
It's Fuller House now, actually.
Fuller House? Like what? Explain the flicks of net to me, please. I don't understand. No. Okay. What the hell are you trying to say, Rob?
Yeah. Jack did not know what Death Note was before this, and I'm not going to say that all of you listening know what Death Note is either, but Colin, you can back me up on this. It's a very beloved anime. It's like definitely like often found in like top 20s probably. Like it became an anime in like 06, I want to say, or maybe 04.
I don't know either.
Yeah,
so it became an anime. It didn't start out that way.
Yeah, so originally
it was a manga.
Yeah, originally it was a manga, which is Japanese for comic, and it was written by.
Thank you for that.
No problem. It was originally written by Tsugumi Oba and Takeshi Obata, and it was well known for its story, and it was like really good, and it kind of just portrayed like what's it like to be a super smart genius but then have absolute power that absolutely corrupts, you know? So it's a pretty long tragic story about what happens to this kid, and obviously I guess we shouldn't spoil anything, even though it's been like 10 plus years since Death Note's finished.
Yeah, but it's I mean, whether or not it's because of the movie, it has like picked up in popularity like crazy ever since it got put on Netflix and things like that.
Right. So I guess Netflix was like, hey, what if we made an American remake of Death Note? And this
because those go so well in the past.
Yeah, and this isn't the first time a live action Death Note's been attempted. I think there are 3 separate different live action Japanese movies of Death Note.
Oh, wow. That I didn't know.
Yeah. And this though is the first one that's like completely American, like American actors set in an American city and all that. But to say it retells Death Note is a lie. It kind of uses Death Note as a source material. So, Jack, I remember when we told you that we wanted to talk about this, you told me that the description was like, this is stupid.
Well, just the premise on Netflix, yeah, it just sounded dumb. Like someone gets angry at someone, they got beef in school or something, so they just write down, and should I just say it?
Yeah. So
they just write down a name in their diary and then that person dies or something. I was like, okay, that's stupid. And Death Note sounds kind of hardcore. I don't really think of a anime. I kind of thought it was like maybe a superhero in the Marvel or DC universe or something like,
no.
Oh, this is going to be in the Infinity Wars. No. Maybe I'm thinking of Death Wish. I don't know what I'm thinking of. But a lot of death going on in anime, so I guess this makes sense. But yeah, oh, let me just write down your name. Oh, you made me mad one day. So you scribble, and then they're dead. Like, sounds kind of stupid.
Yeah, I mean, that's essentially
from the outside looking in.
Right. And that's essentially the idea, except for instead of like his diary, it's like a book that basically death gods carry around. But one of them decided, like, let's plop it in the human world and see what the humans do with it, because I'm bored.
Oh, that's funny. So they're just like, let's just watch people kill each other.
Yeah. The thing, though, with Light in the manga, like, he's a really smart kid with like a very strong sense of justice. So he uses the Death Note to like kill criminals and like create a world where people are afraid to commit crimes because they know like he's looking out, and like if he knows you've committed a crime, you're dead.
Is he a superhero or a supervillain?
He's a villain who's the main character.
So why don't people just kill him then?
Because how do you know it's him? Like if I told
you,
no
one knows.
Yeah,
I thought you said people know it's him.
Yeah, it's not like an open thing that he does. It's like he keeps it very to himself.
Right. And
wow.
Yeah. So it's a lot of like I think the major juicy part of the original thing is that there's a expert detective named L who is like super duper smart. Like he immediately knows that whoever is causing all these deaths lives in Japan and lives in this specific area of Japan. Like he's able to deduce that just from a couple of killings. So it's a giant cat and mouse game to see like, does L catch Light, or does Light eventually kill L or something? Like who knows what happens?
So does he have to like keep the book like in a safe or something, or is it just in his book bag? Or
he does different things with it. He's a smart kid. He has a lot of like backup plans on backup plans.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. And it's not like these people pursuing him knows how he's killing these people either. You know,
they don't even know if it's him or not, you know.
Right.
And okay, they made a live action movie, or is this an anime on Netflix?
This is a live action movie on Netflix.
Maybe one of these days you guys will get around to explaining what Netflix is, since I don't know what it is.
That's true. Okay, so imagine like you know that TV you have in the living room?
No, stop. I'm kidding. Okay. Just keep going the movie.
Okay, Fuck. So let's talk about the movie, because the movie is really bad and I don't like it and I want to rip it apart. So
it just took me seeing the main protagonist's actor. That's all it took.
Yeah. Really? Okay. So so this movie's directed by Adam Wingard, who I'm not very familiar with, but he apparently directs a lot of like horror type movies. Like he directed that remake of Blair Witch that was like a year or two ago. I think. Yeah.
They remade the Blair Witch Project?
I think so.
It was a sequel.
Was it?
Okay. Straight to video. Straight to VHS.
Dude, it was in theaters.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, like people actually said it was good, believe it or not.
Wow.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay, so wait, this is like a horror anime originally?
Well, so it's more of a thriller. But the thing is, this director, like, even if you didn't know that he's a horror movie director, you just watch this movie on Netflix and like there's so many hints of horror to it. It kind of felt very off-putting.
I think a lot of it is like the lighting and the way some of the scenes are set up.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Like I've even noticed a couple of like shaky cam scenes, like scenes where it's like they were holding up the camera with a hand. So I'm like, man, that's some Blair Witch going on right there. So basically, instead of having Light be the super smart kid who wants to like purify the world, he's a high schooler. And the first person he kills is this bully who's being mean to people.
Yes. And that is, it didn't even take that much for me to figure out like this movie, there's a problem here.
Yeah.
And I think it's right at that scene or right before that scene. So let me paint a picture for you, Jack. This character is basically Shia LaBeouf at Transformers.
Oh,
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah. He's that down on his luck kid in high school.
Yeah.
So glad to hear.
As soon as he meets Ryuk, his first reaction is just lose his shit and scream, like straight channeling his inner Shia LaBeouf from Transformers.
Okay.
Like, oh shit, what the fuck? Like, kind of
Ryuk
thing,
is the death god.
Yes.
Okay.
Who is played by Willem Dafoe, or his voice.
That's cool.
Yeah, he's
like Willem Dafoe.
He's the best part of the movie.
For sure. 100% the best part of the movie.
Not enough
He
to
can be
save
a death
it.
god. He can be a
And
death god in any movie.
he didn't even look into the source material. That's the funny part.
Yeah.
He read a synopsis and he's like, I got this. It's fine.
Right. And if I remember right, the dude who plays Light in this version, he played the like male lead in that one, The Fault in Our Stars. The one like romantic.
Was that him? I thought he
Okay.
looked familiar.
Yeah, that's that guy. Yeah, so I just have a lot of problems with like the beats of the story because it just kind of makes no sense. And again, I'm probably clouded by the fact that I know what happens in the original, but like,
So let me ask. I have a question. Is this like an American adaptation of the manga?
yes, it's set in Seattle and like,
Yeah, they changed it from what, Tokyo? Is it Tokyo?
I think it's
man.
originally set in Tokyo. Now it's set in Seattle, but they keep a lot of things though. Like they keep the Death Note has a lot of rules to it, and most of those rules make a reoccurrence. This part I really hated, and this happens later, but it's not really a spoiler. So Light picks up the name Kira, right? And in the Japanese manga at the time, like that was him being like, it's like the English word killer, but like Japaneseified.
Right. Kira. Yeah.
Right, Kira. In this stupid fucking version of American Death Note, he's like, I got it. I'll call myself Kira because it means light in Celtic and Russian. And bitch, I looked it up. It doesn't mean light in either of those fucking Stop.
What
it
the
doesn't mean
hell?
light in either of them.
They just made that up?
Yeah. Like
What?
Pull that out of their ass?
yeah, in Russian it means like beloved leader, like leader of the people.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and Celtic, it means fiery red, not really light. And
Yeah, and then they had the audacity to write it in Japanese and tease you with all these Japanese scenes. I was like, dude.
yeah, and he even goes on and says, and it kind of means killer in Japanese. It's like,
Kinda.
God damn it,
wow.
dude, this is bad.
Like,
This sounds so bad, guys. How did you make it to the end?
listen. Now, here's the thing, though. Like Robert was saying, this movie is very, very oddly paced. Like, it moves so ridiculously fast at the beginning of the movie, and I got to like about the midpoint. I was like, okay, so this is about to be over, right? Like, it seems like it's gonna be over, and I'm only halfway through this fucking movie right now.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is awful. It's almost 2 hours long.
It's an hour 40. Yeah. Another thing. So he has like a girlfriend. And I don't get this at all. This is fucking weird. So his girlfriend is like a cheerleader, but she's like disillusioned with like her cheerleader friends, and she wants something different.
She's a sociopath.
Right. So they see each other across the field or whatever, and they fall in love. Well, they like love at first sight. And then after he gets the Death Note, he runs into her one day, and he's basically like, let me show you something really cool.
Wow. What, does he like kill like her pet or something?
So bad.
Yeah. No, he basically is like, you know that bully that died yesterday? That was me. I wrote his name in a book and he died. And she's like,
Robert.
bullshit. And he's like, come with me right now. We're going to kill someone else.
Oh my god.
Robert, that scene when she like first talked to him in the gym. Did you also notice that she was running upstairs to literally nowhere?
Yeah.
Like, she was running up these stairs like she wasn't paying any attention to him. She was like running upstairs, fully intending on going all the way up these stairs to wherever the hell they didn't lead to. And then she just awkwardly turns, and then she's like, I'm gonna go talk to this weirdo kid who looks like he's writing like an assassination list to shoot up the school with.
Wow. Sounds like they just like threw this all together. It just sounds like and nothing really came together in the end. It just sounds like a total failure on every level.
Like basically this couple, they bonded over the fact that they can kill people with a book.
Wow.
Like they do this montage of them being like, we can change the world, we can kill all the criminals, and then they interlace like making out scene. Then they're like, we can be a beacon for a new hope. They're taking their shirts off.
Yeah, like very awkward and forced sex scene, and it's terrible.
Was this rated R, I assume?
TVMA.
TVMA, okay. Good old TVMA.
And
let me ask you. So theoretically, just so I know the rules here in the universe, like he could write down anyone's name that's alive on the planet, and they would be dead the next day or the same day.
If you can picture their face in your head and their full name, you can kill them. And they I don't remember the exact rules in the manga, but it's like after 6 minutes and 40 seconds of you writing their name, they get a heart attack and die. Except for in this version, they're like, you have to write how they die too. And fucking I remember this. The first time he kills someone, he's like, decapitation, why not? Like,
oh wow.
Dude. And they do this shitty gore thing. Yeah, there's a lot of gore in this movie for no reason too. I completely forgot about that.
So they added that in.
Yeah. Well,
so is this a big book that he has to write in, or is there like limited space?
It's like a journal.
So you could run out of space.
Yeah.
Does it have to be like Times New Roman .12 fonts?
No, you just write with a pen.
Double spaced. Oh man.
Okay, so one more thing I want to say about this, and then we can move on from this train wreck of a movie. Are either of you familiar with the song by Chicago called I Don't Want to Live Without Your Love?
If I heard it, I'd probably know it.
I love Chicago, but I can't think of it off the top of my head. I'm sure I would recognize it though.
It's a slow ballady kind of song, you know. I mean, just by the name of it, you know, I don't want to live without your love. You know,
very good.
Yeah. So the climax, I guess I don't want to spoil it in case people are interested in this.
Well, you really sold it today, that's for sure.
Yeah. Basically, the climax is happening where it's one of those like, oh no, are they both gonna die? Is only one of them gonna die? Like, oh no, you know, like I should care about these characters, but I really don't. And then as the scene unfolds, they slow-mo everything, start playing this love ballad titled I Don't Want to Live Without Your Love, and then just keep zooming into their faces while they're screaming like, no. And it looks so bad.
What?
Yeah.
I can't even imagine a world where this makes it like
right
to the final cut of a film.
Like even the most like supposedly dramatic parts of the film, like they just are absolutely ruined. Like the part in like, I don't want to spoil any, like I don't want to give like too much detail, but like the part in the Ferris wheel, Robert, where the girl's like, give me my fucking book. I'm like, what?
Okay, here's the thing. The fact that here, okay,
you're making me want to watch this now with all this stupid scenes.
Here's what
it seems
I find,
like it's so bad it's good almost.
Here's what I find so funny is that every time Colin and I quote a line to each other, our first response isn't, yeah, I remember that scene. It's like laughing and being like, oh fuck, yeah, I remember that.
Is it like, you know, like middle school theater, like caliber acting, or
I think it's best, like, if you're a fan of riffing something, if you want to make a riff track, this is a great movie for that, because that's pretty much what I did when I was watching it with my friend.
Unintentionally funny.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. Yeah, well, honestly, though, Robert, I want to ask you real quick before we jump from this. What did you think of Elle?
Elle was stupid in this movie.
Okay.
Not a fan.
Like, because I haven't seen enough of the source material to really have an idea, but I feel like he captured the mannerisms at least.
He captured the mannerisms at first, but then
by the way, Jack, Elle, who is an Asian man, like Japanese man in the manga, is black in this movie.
But again, it's an American adaptation, so
right. Are any Asians in this movie?
Yes, the handler of Elle is Asian.
Handler?
Yeah, he has a handler, kind of like his Alfred Pennyworth. Like if he's Batman, that's his Alfred. But no, there's a part in the movie because like Elle is supposed to be like, he's that weird eccentric detective who like sits on chairs, but like by squatting on them instead of sitting in them normally. And, you know, like he holds up his phone really weird when he's talking on it. And like, he's a weird guy, you know, but he's super smart. So
he eats a lot of candy.
Right. So for the first half of the film, Elle is like pretty, you know, like there. He's like that. And then look, there's a scene where he says something along the lines of, like, this is at this point where he knows Light is Kira and he confronts him in public but doesn't say I'm arresting you, and he's like, I don't like using guns. Guns are loud and annoying. And then 20 minutes later, he has a fucking gun in his hand. And his character pulls a fucking 180 and he goes insane. And I'm just like, this is so stupid. This is so dumb. I'm so tired of this.
You guys have sold me. First, I'm going to figure out what this whole Netflix thing is, and then second, I'm going to maybe not watch this game.
They have
to watch this game.
They have an app on your phone if you can figure that one out.
Okay, phones. The rotary dial, just rotary.
We'll save it for next week, Jack.
All right. Well, let's talk about something else real quick. Guys, there was a fight this weekend, Saturday night, in fact.
It was
Mayweather,
the fight.
Yeah, of the century, the biggest combat sports event in history. It was billed as Mayweather versus McGregor. And so, Robert, I assume you saw the outcome on the news, or maybe followed it on the back end.
I followed the numbers. I didn't see the actual punches.
Okay. And then, Colin, you saw it live.
Yes.
I threw a little soiree here at my place, and it was...
Oh, did you?
It was adventurous, to say the least. So I don't even know where to begin. I mean, I would love to start talking about the fight, but first and foremost, the first thing I think of is that, UFC's entire website crashed multiple times, and people that paid $100 to watch this at home were not able to see it, myself included.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was supposed to start at like 8 p.m. Eastern, something like that is when like the main card started, like the 4 championship fights. And yeah, I was watching it, and I thought everything was good to go. And then it just like stopped, and then you couldn't log in. And whenever you tried to log in, it just said, we are basically in so many words, it's something like, we are inundated with so many requests right now. We cannot process your login request. Try again later. And it did that for hours. Yeesh. And Twitter was like imploding, and I'm like, this is the fucking UFC. This is Conor McGregor versus Mayweather. How do you not understand that you're going to get a lot of traffic? Probably the most traffic you've ever seen on this day. You've had literally months to prepare for this, and you can't handle people logging in and trying to hand you $100. Your infrastructure is that unprepared, right? So it was like a whole big thing. I even contemplated, like, to put it this way, they would apologize on Twitter. This is live that night. They apologize on Twitter, and then they throw up a fucking link like, we apologize, you can't watch it on our website. Here's all the other places you can buy it. Ugh. So they already took my money, my $100.
Oh my God.
And they're throwing up links to where I can buy it somewhere else.
It's a scam.
Are you serious? And long story short, though, after the national anthem was sung, after the fighters were introduced, I actually was able to log in and watch it. But it was at the absolute 11th hour, right? Like, wow. It was really stressful, and I had people over, and I'm trying to be a good host, and I'm trying to be entertaining, but at the same time, I'm like, well, if we don't have a fight to watch, like, what are we going to do? I mean, luckily here we had lots to do. We were doing some VR and stuff, and just having a good time. And dude, that's made the most worst, of it, but it was stressful for sure to like not to pay that money and not have it work right when you needed to.
Being a host for some sort of event is the worst, and when you have technical difficulties, it's so frustrating.
I love having people over. I love playing video games with people. It's like one of my favorite things to do. But like I said, like when something that you think is just totally in the bag, you don't have to worry about all of a sudden becomes like the biggest problem. The whole crux of the whole situation.
It's always the most basic thing.
I just couldn't believe UFC like could be that unprepared. Like, this is seriously like the biggest fight. This is the most money you'll ever make in one night, and you're ruining it. So
yeah,
I've got the ball rolling. Like I want a full refund, but I don't know if I'll get a refund, especially since like I saw some of it. So I'll probably get some kind of credit or something like, oh, watch UFC Fight Pass free for a month or something stupid like that. Mm-hmm. But it was really, really stressful.
What do you think of the fight itself?
Yeah, I want to get to the fight itself. Like, I don't know, Colin, I've been talking a while. You let me know your initial thoughts. So, like, first of all, before the fight happened, who did you have?
So, like we talked in a previous episode when we were talking about combat sports, like my heart of hearts, I wanted Conor McGregor to win because he's the underdog here, right? I wanted to see him, follow through and, whip Floyd Mayweather's ass. But like I said in that episode, if I was a betting man, I would probably, bet on Floyd. And so I was actually really happy seeing, Conor McGregor coming out, and he was, he won the first 3 rounds, right? He was actually doing very well. He was, getting inside and throwing some punches, getting some good strikes in, and he was up by points, a very solid amount of points by the end of the 3rd round. And then Mayweather opened up after the 4th round and started getting some good freaking hits in, man. He was knocking his jaw around for sure. And then you get to all the way to the 8th round, and then next thing you know, Conor McGregor is just out of it.
Yeah, he has a pattern. If you watch carefully, he has a pattern of really gassing himself. It happens in a lot of his fights. He'll get tired if you drag him into deep water. So he's really got to work on his stamina and his fitness. I don't know really how he's training, but he always seems to get over to this hill of fatigue that he can almost never get over. And that was exactly the game plan for Mayweather's camp, was that they were going to let him just punch him and try and swing and just punch himself out and get tired the first 3 rounds. And sure, they were going to give up those early rounds. I'm pretty sure McGregor won all 3 of the first 3. And that was the plan for Mayweather. He knew that he wasn't going to be able to take the punishment, and he landed more punches. He had sharper punches. But to McGregor's credit, man, he landed more punches on Mayweather than Manny Pacquiao did. He won more rounds than any fighter versus Mayweather since Cotto. It's been
dude.
It's been, it was a great fight. It was very entertaining. It was a good event. I think it was worth the money to watch it at home. I can't say that for a lot of pay-per-view fights, but they gave us a show. And also, to Mayweather's credit, he totally came out of his comfort zone, and instead of being on the defensive and pulling that Philly shell stance and just dodging everything and not doing anything and running and backing up, he actually went at McGregor. He turned into a Mexican that night, is what McGregor said. He went full in, just head down, gloves up, just charging forward and punched him in the face. And McGregor said that he didn't train for that. He didn't prepare for that because Mayweather never fights like that.
Nope.
That's the first time he got that offensive. He's always the guy
that backs up. Yeah, you watch the Pacquiao fight, and he backed up most of the time.
That's how he's gotten to 49-0.
I'm sorry, Jack. I didn't mean to cut you off. I was gonna say during the fight they had to card the guy had to warn McGregor a lot because Floyd kept turning around and McGregor kept hitting him in the back of the head.
Yeah, he's rabbit punching him. Yeah. No, it kept happening. I was worried he was going to lose a point, actually.
Yeah, me too. And I was like, dude, they're gonna dock him points, and it's gonna screw him out of winning the match probably because he just did it so many times. And I get in UFC that's a very common thing, right? Ground and pound, get the guy to the ground and beat the shit out of him. That's just what you do in UFC. That's the strategy. Right. If the head's there, that's what you do. You hit him in the head. But that's part of Floyd Mayweather's style is he freaking turns his back to you. That's what the commentators were saying. And he's he turns his back to you and uses that as a strategic way to get out of a bad situation. So. Yeah,
I think overall it was a very entertaining fight. I was very happy with the way it went. I knew Mayweather was going to win. Everyone knew it basically, besides maybe Conor's friends and family and fans. But Mayweather, I knew he was going to win because he said to not Jimmy Fallon, who's the other guy? The guy that
Jimmy Kimmel?
Jimmy Kimmel, yeah, thank you. He said to Jimmy Kimmel on his show, he said, because Jimmy Kimmel's I'm going to bet on you. Make sure I get my money, basically. And Mayweather was I'll tell you what. And he's got the money to do it, too. He's being serious. He's go ahead and place your bet on me as much as you want. And he goes, and if you lose your money and if I lose the fight, I'll give you your money back. He swore. He said, I'll do that. So, that's the most guaranteed safe bet you could ever make, right? And I read the news as well that there were 4 $1 million bets on that fight.
Wow.
4 separate $1 million bets. Yeah. Unbelievable.
Yeah, dude. I remember seeing a few pictures on Twitter that are look at all the people that bet on McGregor and he lost.
Yeah,
it's awful. But to conclude it though, it's really impressive though, McGregor's performance for being someone that's never really jumped in the ring before as a boxer alone. He's never jumped in before, and he jumps in with one of the best boxers of all time.
I mean, he's 50-0, dude. He's definitely in the mix for best boxer of all time. He's 50-0. He got the record. He's up there with anyone.
Is that a new record in the boxing industry?
Yeah, he tied Rocky Marciano's record of 49-0, and since he won this fight Saturday, now he's the sole only boxer ever to reach 50-0.
Okay.
That's crazy, man.
As a professional. There have been some 50-0s as amateurs, but not as professional. And in amateur, you have way bigger gloves, you have headgear. It's not the same thing.
Yeah, and honestly, I was very, very surprised when McGregor came out and he wasn't just all out aggressive. Like, he was very composed. You know, he was just being very strategic about his strikes, but the ones he was getting weren't like the strongest hits right on his head, because that's just not what you do in UFC. You don't try to get like the hardest punches you possibly can. Whereas Floyd, when he'd actually get a hit on him, dude, he was just like, you saw the slow-mo shots, right, man? He was just taking his jaw like across the side. It was they oh my god, I couldn't imagine taking those punches. I'd probably be dead.
I really think that almost everyone won in this fight, in a way. The fans won. We got an awesome fight. Mayweather obviously closed it off.
Too much.
You know, no one is complaining the way Mayweather finished it. I mean, he finished him TKO, and I think Conor McGregor won by looking good, showing a really good look, going 10 rounds. No one expected him to go 10 rounds against the champ. So I really think all parties involved, you know, came out pretty good at the end, and they're not complaining about the money either. Mayweather's touted to make upwards of $350 million for this fight. Conor McGregor's making over $100 million for this fight. Like,
yeah, that's bigger than any payday he ever got from the UFC.
Yeah, you just got to put, when you got $95 million, $100 million, you know what you do? You just put that in the bank. You never work a day in your life.
Yeah, seriously.
You live off the interest.
Yeah, and oh my goodness, what was I gonna say? Yeah, like McGregor, man, like what I just can't believe how well he did for the first time fighter. And like Floyd Mayweather, just it's crazy that he like came out of retirement, of course, for like this huge event, but then he's like, I'm never gonna box again. Do you think that's true though?
I really do believe him. I really do think that Mayweather is absolutely done. There's no fight he can have where he's gonna make this much money ever again. There's no one he can fight. No one.
True.
Even the best in boxing, no one will pay, you know, this much money to watch him fight with anyone else. This is like peak for him. You know, and he knew that. He's a businessman first and foremost before he's a boxer, and he knew that he needed a huge name. Conor McGregor was it. He had the fan base to attract this huge draw. So I really do believe it. And the fact that he didn't look that good either. I mean, he was kind of sloppy, slower, and older looking. You know, he had that ring rust he had to shake off after 2 years being retired. And so I really do think that's the last we've seen of Mayweather. We're in the post-Mayweather era. And I don't really know of anyone I want to see him box either.
Yeah, and he's getting pretty freaking old too. He's getting to like Randy Couture age kind of thing. And I was also going to say Conor McGregor, it's like crazy after the match, he's like, you should have just let me go down, man. Like, dude, you were getting slaughtered in the 10th round.
Right.
You were gonna I mean, I respect the grit and stuff, man, but man, you would have ended up with some broken bones if you wouldn't have went any longer or something, man. You were looking bad.
Hey, Robert, what are some of your takeaways from the fight? I know you said you looked at the numbers and stuff. Here's one thing I did want to mention real quick, is that McGregor, you know, on paper, he had every physical advantage. He had the age advantage. He had the height advantage, the weight advantage, and the reach advantage. Every advantage you could ever ask for. But again, you have to, like Mayweather said, if you can give it, you have to be able to take it too. And obviously, McGregor couldn't take it in the end there. So yeah, Robert, to toss it off to you, like, what was your kind of thoughts on the fight?
Well, so I didn't actually see the fight. I didn't go to a bar that was showing it or anything, and there was no way I was going to pay for my own pay-per-view to watch it at home.
Periscope?
Nope, didn't even bother with that.
Okay.
I was out to the bars on the night of the fight though, and a bar I was at, they had a Sports Center playing, but you know, Sports Center doesn't have the rights to just broadcast it live, so they just talk about the other sports stories that happened that week, and then occasionally jump to like a scorecard, you know, just like each round and like how many points each of the fighters
got. Live feed.
Yeah, like at the end of each round, they like, here was round 6, and then here's round 7, and so on. And I remember like initially, because we got there like, well, I noticed it after I think round 3, and it was that point, you know, where it looked like, oh, like McGregor's looking real strong, you know, like it looked like he was winning at the time. And then I think it was around round 7 or 8 that I was like, yeah, okay, Mayweather's got this probably.
Right.
Just by looking at the numbers, I was like, yeah, there's probably no way McGregor's bouncing back from this at this point.
It was pretty close, man. A lot of people had it like going into round 10. A lot of people had it 5 rounds to 4. I mean, some people had it razor thin. So
yeah,
you know, but some people had it lopsided the other way. But you know, I think back also to Saturday night, when I did have a few friends from work over, and you know, there was also something else really big going on this weekend, which is Hurricane Harvey. You know, like making big national news. As we've mentioned on the podcast, like I live in Austin, so we definitely did receive our fair share of rain, but it's really like nothing compared to like what happened in Corpus Christi, in Port Richey, in Houston. Like it's some real serious stuff going on down there, man. So, you know, that was going on. I'm grateful to my friends to drive in a hurricane to come see the fight.
Yeah,
that's over my house, man. Like, yeah, it was real windy and real gusty, and a lot of people couldn't make it for obvious reasons. I don't think I would go anywhere. You know, I don't think I'd leave my house at all under those conditions. But, you know, so yeah, I mean, what have you guys been seeing, you know, kind of up there in the Midwest about it? Yeah, it's kind of all over the place.
Yeah, seeing it from afar, you know, I just keep getting these push notifications about like updates on, you know, families that are trapped in their houses or something because of the flooding and all that. And it's just a real shame that this is all happening. And it's all mostly coastal Texas, right? Like mostly, yeah. Austin's further inland, so you aren't really getting much of the wind or anything.
No, we were getting a lot of wind. We were getting a lot of wind constantly too. It was really strange to see wind just blowing for that. You know what I mean? For like a whole day straight, just wind, like, and with no end in sight. It was kind of an odd thing. You know, obviously me being from the Midwest originally, being this close to hurricanes, a little unnerving. You know, even though it's like 145 miles, whatever, to the southeast, like it's still like it's right there. You know, it's right, and you're gonna get this rain forever. It was kind of a thing. I mean, I definitely made sure before the crowds went to the grocery stores, because I was watching that storm way when it was in the Atlantic Ocean, before it even got to the Yucatan Peninsula and going into the Gulf. I was watching that storm because I have family in Florida. You know, I have family all over the southeast, so I always pay attention to hurricanes, stuff like that. And I didn't, obviously no one expected it to happen the way it did. I think a lot of people were downplaying it actually when it was just a tropical storm, like in the Gulf. And I was like, man, those waters are like way warmer than they usually are. And that's exactly the fuel that you need to create a hurricane. It was like the perfect conditions. Then you had those like areas of low pressure or high pressure, I don't even know, but that was like trapping the hurricane in the Gulf. So it just sat there and spun and got stronger. And then when it got to category 4 hurricane, I was like, this is going to be real bad. So I kind of foresaw that like days before the kind of rush happened at the grocery store. So I made sure to get a bunch of water, get a bunch of food and stuff, and make sure if the power went out, you know, make sure all my batteries are charged and the car is filled with gas and all that stuff. So I missed the whole kind of like zombie apocalypse run that did eventually happen. People were telling me about it though. Like you couldn't get water at grocery stores here, like massive, huge grocery stores. They were completely sold out of water, completely sold out of certain things. So it was kind of, you know, really sad and tragic to see what's going on. It's still going on. It's still not even done, really. You know, it's making its way to Louisiana and stuff. And it's just like crazy seeing a whole city, that like the 4th largest city in the entire country, like just inundated, and all their levees are breaking and stuff. It's like really bad. But, you know, just from where I'm at, like it's okay. Like there were some trees on the ground and stuff, but they had us work from home, Monday, so we didn't have to go into the office, but we did work remotely, just because the roadways and the traffic and all the craziness and stuff, and like the National Guard and stuff, because you have to get through Austin. I mean, Austin's one of the major ways to get to Houston, so a lot of help and a lot of aid is coming this way. So crazy stuff. Yeah, it's good to see though that the video game community is kind of like coming together. Like I know quite a few like YouTubers and stuff and like influential personalities are doing their own kind of charity type things. But one of the bigger groups in the video game community, Games Done Quick, they're actually hosting a charity stream this weekend in hopes of raising funds to help out, I think mostly Houston, right? Yeah, that's good to hear, man. Yeah. So, I mean, it's good to see that, like, you know, something that at the point of where you could be in a hurricane, like something that doesn't really matter, like video games, you know, is still trying its best to help out. Yeah. You know, in the grand scheme of things. Yeah. When actual, like, you know, real tragedies happen in the world, it kind of makes you step back and be like, wow, video games really aren't that important in the grand scheme. I mean, obviously it's, you know, a major nucleus of all 3 of our lives, but, you know, it's really just, it pulls it all into perspective when you see like the struggle that, you know, and the tragedy that's happening elsewhere in the world. So no, it's cool, man. I also would encourage people that if you are considering donating or giving either money or anything, you know, definitely look into that, and also investigate and see if your place of employment maybe has a charitable donation matching. Definitely something to look for, because you could like double your donation, right? If your organization would do that. A lot of companies do that, so look into that if you're planning on giving. My work is actually running something like that right now. You can actually like
donate a percentage of your next paycheck or whatever towards like a fund going to Houston.
That's nice.
That's pretty cool. Yeah.
Well, now that we've established that games don't matter, let's talk about...
Let's spend the rest of the podcast talking about things that don't matter.
Yeah, let's swing over to talking about video games. Okay, so Jack, you got a toy.
Switch it up.
You got a toy.
I got a new piece of kit here. It's a good old Nintendo Switch. I actually tracked one down and got one in time for Mario plus Rabbids.
Okay.
So tell us a little bit about your journey though, finding a console.
Well, I had to do some dirt. I had to question my own moral compass and see how serious I needed to get with this.
Jesus, who did you kill to get the Switch?
I had to buy one of the stupid bundles, guys. I hate myself for it. I had to do it. But the trick is, see, from a well-known video game retailer, national chain, wink, wink.
Target?
and Target. But the thing is, right, the trick is that I kept the parts of the bundle I wanted, then I just went and returned the stuff I didn't want to the store. Mm-hmm. And
perfect. Yeah,
there's like an urban myth, apparently, that you can't do that, but you most definitely can. And so that's exactly what I did. I got everything I needed. I got a carrying case. I got like a tempered glass screen cover that's working really well. I'm really happy with that. I got the Pro Controller, which is a must, I think.
Agreed. I love my Pro Controller.
I'm having fun. I'm having fun with the console. You know, I also went and bought like a giant 256 gig micro SD card. So the size of the Nintendo games downloaded, I'm pretty confident I'll never need to buy a physical copy of a game. I'm pretty sure every game I'll ever buy for that system is going to fit on that one card, because Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle is like only like 2.3 gigs, something stupid like that. The largest game that Nintendo makes, Legend of Zelda, by far is only like 15, 16 gigs. So I don't know what magic they're doing over there, Nintendo, but their file sizes are much smaller than the industry standard. I know we were just talking about Final Fantasy 15, right? Like 170 gigs or something stupid like that. Like, no. Like, I don't even think I'll get close to even half of my card, really, because I'm looking on my shelf now, my Wii U games, like I only have maybe 20 total, you know. So how many? I mean, I'd love to have that problem where there's so many games that I'll have to buy a new card, but I just don't think it'll happen. So I'm pretty much set.
Let me ask, do you have any physical games at all?
In the bundle, Mario Kart Deluxe came with it. So that's just going to live in that slot.
And you're going to keep it?
Yeah, I'll keep it.
So
I like Mario Kart. Yeah.
Follow-up question, and this is probably the most important question you can answer on today's podcast. So prepare yourself. Have you licked it yet?
No.
Hey.
No way, dude. I learned my lesson. I mean, obviously Colin said it wasn't no big deal, so what do I have to worry about, right? It probably just tastes like Cheetos or something stupid, right?
Oh my God.
Well, look, all I'm saying is Colin has licked it live on air. I've gone on record saying I've licked it. I've licked each one of my cartridges.
Okay, yeah, I licked it. Yeah, it was bad. It was really gross.
I don't believe you. I don't believe you.
Dude, it's your way. It's your way of marking your territory.
Rite of passage, right? So back to the Switch. No, I had that one. I have that one cartridge, but it's just gonna stay in there. It's gonna live in the thing, and I don't see myself ever buying any other physical copies.
Without any remnants of Jack's saliva.
No saliva. No, it didn't even occur to me at all. I was just like, oh, no. It didn't even cross my mind at all until you just said that. But I don't know. Maybe one day. We'll see. Maybe it'll be a Patreon tier or something.
Oh, my God.
Make them wait. Make them wait. No, just kidding.
So what did you think of this? What did you think of the system? How does it feel in your hands? How does it play?
Substantial. It's a nice substantial feel. I like the weight. I love the clicking feel and the sound that comes out when you connect and disconnect the Joy-Cons.
Yes, a lot of feedback.
I kind of don't like the Joy-Cons. Are really tiny. Yeah. If you put like your ring finger and your pinky together, that's about the size of the Joy-Con. They're super small. I'm a grown-ass man, so... You know, the Pro Controller, though, on the other hand, is great. Very few complaints. The only thing I can think of with the Pro Controller is that I wish maybe the ZR and the ZL buttons were analog, like linear. You know, like a PS4 or like basically every other controller. But no, I think the screen looks good. I did investigate this as well, and it is a 720p LCD screen. But at that size, I think it looks great.
Yeah.
You know?
I think it looks better than the OLED Vita screen, to be honest with you.
Okay. That's your opinion. That's fine.
That was a bit begrudging.
No, it's fine.
I mean, honestly, no. I've compared them side by side, and honestly, like, I don't know if it's. Well, I think the OLED screen is actually a slightly lower resolution. I think it's like 500 something p.
I never looked it up. I find that hard to believe.
I wish you guys could see the Skype call, because looking at Jack's eyes as Colin just kind of words his way through this is like, I think he's about to kill Colin.
I'm getting a little sweaty, but it's fine. I'm holding it in. I'm getting a little heated.
I mean, I don't know. I thought it looked slightly better.
They both can be good screens. They both can look fine. I'm not, there doesn't have to be a winner or whatever. But OLED is better. Yes, that's all.
I mean, OLED by definition is better. Yes.
So yeah, but back to your, talking about the console overall, I think it was a pretty good. I think it's a pretty good thing. I think Nintendo kind of has a winner here. I mean, obviously the demand has not been met yet. This is going to be, especially when Mario comes out in 2 months, this is going to be the thing to buy. This is going to wreck PlayStation Pro, in my opinion. This is going to wreck Xbox One X, like as far as sales numbers go.
Well, let's be honest,
they're going to sell out. Yeah, they're going to sell out. And the other ones will be on the shelf, readily available. So I did have a nightmare, though, like a real life nightmare with the Switch, where I don't know what was going on, and I experienced it again today, but like the Joy-Con syncing is like really was causing me a lot of headaches, and I was getting really frustrated with last night. I like messed with it for an hour. I could not get the Joy-Cons. Like I was playing the game with the Joy-Cons connected, working fine. Then when I pull up that crappy little kickstand, I would take the Joy-Cons off to try tabletop mode, and they just would lose sync, and I couldn't get them to go or anything. Nothing worked. I tried everything, guys, like for an hour. Weird. And then it turns out that really I just needed to turn off the system and turn it back on. Have you guys ever experienced that before?
Never.
No.
That fucking happened to me today again. So 2 days in a row, they got their sync and then they lost it. Both of them too, because I know like the launch consoles had like, I think the left or the right, just one of them was losing sync, but this was both of them. So again, it happened to me today, and I had to turn off the system and restart it again to get them to sync.
Do you have to do that every 24 hours? Then?
I really hope not. That would really be crappy, especially if you guys have never seen that happen before.
Yeah, I've never seen it happen.
And it wouldn't sync my Pro Controller either. So I don't know. I'm going to keep my eye on it. But, it's working out all right. I've got it in the dock right now. Maybe
the Bluetooth in the actual console itself is faulty or something.
Maybe.
Who could say? Yeah, I don't know what happened in shipping. The box seemed fine. Didn't seem like, got any damage or anything like that. But I'm going to keep my eye on it. If it becomes an issue, like I will have to exchange it for another one. I got the gray Joy-Cons.
I was going to ask you, that was my next question, was whether or not you went Team Gray or Team Neon.
I would be open to getting the neon ones, but they're $80 for a pair of Joy-Cons. Yeah. Like, damn. Yeah. All the accessories for Nintendo Switch are way overpriced. The dock is like $90. The controllers is $70, $80. It's ridiculous. I don't know how they get away with it, man. But because the games are all full price. Like Nintendo games don't go on discount or on sale. They're all $60. Never, yeah. And especially if I'm going to be buying them all digitally, they're always going to be $60 basically.
Yeah.
Let me see. Oh, one cool thing I did do. I really enjoy being able to have the Joy-Cons just in your hands anywhere. Like you could have them up above your head. You can have them anywhere and just like lay comfortably and play the game like a slob on the couch.
It feels good though, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It's really comfortable. So this is what I did, guys. So I have this. Let me see if I can paint this picture for you. So I have kind of a low profile couch. And then I have an end table that also serves kind of as like a laptop table. So it's the kind of table that has legs that slide under your couch and go over the couch.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
I see.
Okay, you with me? So the top of this table is see-through glass. Okay? So what I've been doing is laying on my couch. No, it's awesome. You're going to be so jealous. I invented this. Okay, no, I'm just kidding. So it's glass, so I put the Wii U, listen to me. I put the Switch like face down on the glass. And I lay down on the couch and then I slide that so it's on top of my like hands free, like right in front of my face, and I can just lay down and just play games like laying flat on my back with a pillow and like my hands wherever up here.
And then you fall asleep.
You could, but I was like, man, this is genius. I just won at life now. I can just play video games like the most comfortable ever. I don't even have to sit up to play video games.
Yeah, then you fall asleep, and then you're gonna wake up suddenly. Ooh. You're gonna like get up, and you're gonna slam your head against that glass, and shatters it. Your Switch just goes flying across the room.
It could happen. It could happen.
Is that how you played Mario plus Rabbids?
Indeed, it is how I played and how I plan on playing it in the future as well. That game is fun. That game is very easy so far, but I'm only in the beginning, so I can't speak to the game very in depth yet. I can say that I am looking forward to seeing how deep it goes. The mechanics are very easy to follow. It's incredibly like non-complex, but still very strategic. The graphics look great. The story is kind of whatever. They just kind of threw something together to get Mario and the Rabbids in the same universe. Doesn't really matter. I'm not there for the story, but there is like some humor in it. There is good writing. Okay. The music is not what I would expect from a Mario game. I have a feeling that maybe Ubisoft took over the music department, which whatever, could be a mistake. We'll wait to see, but I just think the gameplay has some interesting tactical action. It's kind of like an XCOM game, if you don't know, which is just so crazy to hear Mario and Rabbids and XCOM together, but it works so far.
Isn't it literally XCOM? I hear there's like minor differences, but it's like you can put Mario in Overwatch.
How much XCOM have you guys played?
None.
Enough to know that this is a blatant ripoff.
All right, Robert. No, you're not wrong. It is pretty much a ripoff of XCOM. I mean, they make no bones about it. But it doesn't get all up in your ass like XCOM does, dude. XCOM is balls hard game.
Oh yeah,
it is, and you'll think you're doing fine, and then the enemy will take just one turn to like annihilate you, and then you get to the point where you're like, I've been doing this battle for like 45 minutes or something. Like I have to restart this now. 3 of my dudes died on one turn. I thought I was fine. Would you say that's accurate?
No, listen. XCOM is the kind of game where I have missed not one shot, but 2 99% accuracy shots in my life that have cost me the battle. 99% chance to hit.
Yeah, and then you lose, and then you just lose the whole match, and there's like permadeath too. So like your character's just dead now.
Yeah, XCOM is hardcore. It's hardcore RNG.
I've had to restart it like so many times, thinking like, oh, I can save everybody. You really can't. If someone's gonna die, and you're just gonna have to live with it, and it's really terrible after you spent hours leveling people up, and there's permadeath going on. So this game is for those people. People like me who don't have time to futz with XCOM's stupidness. And XCOM's a great game, don't get me wrong, if that's your one and only game. But, you know, I like to play a lot of games, not one game like intensely most of the time, Overwatch. But yeah, but this game is very, I hate saying the C word, but you know, it's for casual fans. It's very
okay, good.
Yeah,
brushing the sweat off my brow.
Right? No, yeah, filthy casuals. But it's you know, it's friendly. It's Mario. It's humor. There's no blood. There's no laser beams yet. You know, but Mario does have kind of like Mega Man's Mega Buster in it. He has a gun. Yeah. And I don't know. It's funny. It's a good time. I think it's perfect for a portable. I look forward to playing it, man. I was happy to pay full price for this game on the day it came out.
Yeah, that was my question. Is it $60?
It is $60. I was happy to do it because this is the kind of thing I want to encourage. I think it's a Mario game like we've never had before. It's in a universe that's kind of unique. It's all its own with the Rabbids. So yeah, Mario Kingdom Battle came out just yesterday, August 29th, and it's on Switch. I don't know what else to say about it. It's good. I look forward to playing it.
Jack is rabid about Rabbids.
I'm not sensing rabbit just yet.
Not yet, but I can see. Like I said, I just like having a good old tactical fun action time. That's
Fair
what
enough.
This looks like.
Jack, you and I also played a game last night that I want to talk about.
Speaking of balls hard,
the sequel to one of the most incomplete games ever released.
Right, but then it became complete after years of DLC and patches.
Say the name of the game already.
Density 2.
My density.
Now, Destiny,
today, kids, we're going to teach you about density and sciencey stuff.
Physics.
This is Density 2, actually.
Physics.
So Destiny 2, devved by Bungie, you know, those Halo guys, published by Activision. So I was kind of surprised by this. For PC, it's on the Blizzard launcher. And at first I was like, why? Yeah. And then I remembered, Oh yeah, Blizzard Activision.
Yeah, the merger. And this is the open beta, so the game's not out proper yet for PC. This is just the open beta if you didn't pre-order it.
Right. And what I find really interesting is, so Destiny's coming out like next Tuesday, September 6th for console, PS4 and Xbone.
Yeah.
But PC, you have to wait like a whole month and a half for the full release. Like, it's not until October 24th.
Why is that a thing?
I did not know.
Why is that a
that's
thing?
Horrible.
I don't know. I couldn't tell you. And I mean, I don't think there's crossplay involved, so at least it won't be like all the PC players are gimped, because if you jump into PvP, all the console players will have better gear than you.
Okay. So well, that's like, kind of bad still, but yeah.
It's not the best, no, but it's there. And I remember when I first saw that like the PC release date was going to be later than the console release date, I was kind of worried, like, ooh, maybe the port's not going to be good. Like, ooh, maybe it's not going to be that great.
Maybe there's problems, yeah. Maybe there's troubled water.
But it's surprisingly not bad. Like, as a PC port, it ran incredibly well. Like, I didn't even have to tinker much with the settings to get like optimal, 60 FPS, like good feeling, good field of view.
I would assume that like they're at least half decent importing games to PC. I don't know how the Call of Duty PC versions are. I would assume they're not bad.
They've actually had a history of being questionable.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So I didn't know that. So I've never played a Call of Duty game on PC, but they've also put all the past Halo, like Bungie put the past Halo games on PC. And those were never bad from what I heard.
Yeah, so. I mean, this isn't devved by like Sledgehammer or Treyarch or anything, like the other Call of Duty people. This is by Bungie, right?
Right.
So, yeah, the PC port, I mean, Jack, you can attest to this too, right? Like, the PC port felt good in terms of just like, clickety-clacking on the keyboard and shooting with the mouse.
When I saw that the console releases on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One are coming out September 6th, and then the PC version, we were going to have to wait until October 24th. For that to come out. I was like, why? What is the reason? What is the cause of this? So I was real worried. But like you said, when I booted it up, I was like, oh, they did the things that I need them to do for me, for my setup. They take advantage fully of the 1080 Ti. I was playing it 21:9, of course, 3440, 1440, and I was getting 100 frames a second. That's with everything maxed out except the shadows. I turned down from highest to high, and then like the depth of field, I turned down from again highest to high. So like boohoo, right? Like, but to get a solid 100 frames a second on FPS, and to go back to to get back my memory of like what a chug that the first Destiny was on PlayStation 4. Like, wow, this kind of wowed me. I was like, oh, I'm actually gonna like this game. And then we played it, and it feels good. It's a first-person shooter. It's just, it reminds me like, okay, I don't really like bullet spongy kind of repetitive enemies. And that's kind of what I was getting a lot. And especially the bosses come out. I don't know. I was hoping for more of a Diablo type feel, or more of maybe even a Borderlands type feel. I don't know. Did you see any parallels to Borderlands?
I easily compare this to like Borderlands. I feel you can draw a lot of parallels to The Division. Ubisoft's past foray.
So you guys did more PvE than PvP then?
Yeah, I don't care about PvP.
Yeah, we just did what is that called? A strike? Is that what we were doing?
It was
the raids or whatever.
Yeah.
It's basically like a gauntlet dungeon, gauntlet style dungeon.
And so I actually played through all 3 classes that they offered. They have the Titan, the Hunter, and the Warlock. And each of those classes have like a they have 2 subclasses you can choose from. You can only have one active at a time, but you're basically playing a completely different character if you switch those subclasses, which I find pretty interesting.
Different weapons, different abilities. It's pretty interesting. They start you out fully capped in the beta.
Yeah. And this is my first time playing a Destiny game for real. Like, I mean, Colin, you and I played Destiny 1 for a little bit, but that was for like a project or whatever.
Yeah, a whole hour.
Yeah, that wasn't really a good impression of the game. So this is like my first real impression of Destiny 2. Jack, I know you've had quite a bit of experience with Destiny 1.
Yeah, shameless plug number 17 here. I have a video on the Lancers website, video review or video preview of Destiny. And yeah, it's I think they've definitely made some market improvements with Destiny 2, and it just feels so much better on mouse and keyboard, and it's running again at a good frame rate. I don't know if it's enough though to get me into this. I think if like I had multiple friends that were playing it, then it would be more worthwhile. But like as a single player thing or just like a PvE thing, I don't know if there's enough hooks to get me in. I mean, the graphics are great. I think the graphics look good. I think the environments are interesting. There's a lot of surprising level of platforming in the beta that I am mixed on. Like, I don't necessarily know if I ever need platforming in my Destiny. So
was that not to contend with. Was that not a big thing in the first game?
Not that I remember. Again, this is like, what, 4 years ago, though? One thing that did stand out to me was how absolutely vanilla, generic, non-burger the music was. Like, I can't even, like, think to what it even sounded like. And you're going from having Marty McDonald, that was his last game at Bungie, was Destiny. He did some tracks with Paul McCartney for that game. Did you know that?
No.
And you know, so that
they
music
paid like
was
millions for that or something.
Oh yeah, they paid a lot of money to have Paul McCartney on just a few of the tracks too for that game. Not his voice, but just his songwriting ability. And I can't even, you know, I it was actually going through my head as we're playing, as we're supposed to be doing this intense battling and stuff, that a lot of the battles just actually were pretty frustrating. And I'm not sure if it's just like, oh, I'm just not good enough, or we're not coordinating good enough, or it's just maybe a bad design. You know, I can't really, I need to spend more time with it before I can come to a final conclusion on that. But one thing I do remember is that the music was absolutely, totally nothing.
Yeah.
What was your thought on that?
I don't remember much of the music there either. And like, I kind of got the same feeling of like when I'm playing a Call of Duty game. You know what I mean? Like, the music I know is there, but I will never remember the melody to it or anything. It's just kind of there to add ambiance rather than there to be something memorable.
Right. I think that the tools are in place when you look at the skill set and the abilities. The tools are in place to have some sort of flow and some sort of synergy, not only with your own abilities, but also to synergize with your team. It's just comes to a matter of playing and spending more time in the game and figuring out what that is. In the short time we were doing it, we didn't really get to achieve any kind of flow like that, but we did beat the final boss after several tries, frustrating tries. But it did happen. I was like, okay, this game, you know, is doing its thing. It's not an abomination on PC. It's definitely passable. But I'm going to go ahead and uninstall this right this minute. I don't need it. I'm never going to play it again, at least in the beta form. You know, I'll wait till final reviews come out. I'll see how many of my friends want to play it or not. Because this holiday season is going to get crowded. Like Far Cry 5's coming out. There's a lot of buzz now on Call of Duty. There's a bunch of games coming out.
Yeah.
Mario, Assassin's Creed Origins, which I think, by the way, come out on the same day.
Wolfenstein 2 also comes out that day.
Dude, wait.
Oh, okay.
Wolfenstein 2's this year? I thought it was next year.
It's coming out the same day the new Mario comes out, and the same day that Assassin's Creed Origin comes out.
Well, forget Assassin's Creed.
But it's a very, like, that's just a very bumpy day.
Dude.
Yeah, and then the beginning of next year is just packed full.
Well,
spring next year is ridiculous.
I'm sure things will get bumped. They always do, right? Yeah. Something always doesn't make it. But I didn't realize that Wolfenstein comes out this year. I thought that was 2018.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
This year is pretty packed right now. I mean, like, I don't know if you guys are interested, but Divinity Original Sin 2 is coming out next month.
That's a thing. Yeah, I'm 2 wands. Yeah.
Snap.
Into that. South Park, The Fractured Butthole, Tuesday, October 17th. Yeah, it's like, there's so much coming out this year, and
October 17th. So if that game was getting delayed, it would have been announced already.
Yeah, probably.
Okay.
I never thought I'd say this, but I wish games would stop coming out for a little bit. just for a little bit.
Dude, it happened. I told you guys, Madden came out of his hole, and when Madden drops, that's when video games start rolling out stupidly.
Yeesh. I don't know if I'll pick up Destiny 2 on launch. That $60 price tag is a little high, I think, for that kind of game for me right now.
Real quick,
100%.
One thing too is that I am hearing conflicting things on this, but apparently the PlayStation 4 version is the one to get because that's the one that's getting the most content added to it. And that game in Destiny, content is king. Like, if you don't have things to do, if you only have limited amount of strikes, then that's the whole game. So most people that are hardcore about Destiny are actually going to be playing on a PS4. Just for that reason alone. So that's something to look out for as well. Less of a value to the other platforms.
It's crazy.
Yeah, because it's always been that whole marketing thing of like the best Destiny experiences on PlayStation kind of thing.
Yeah, they have that bundle coming out, the white PS Pro we talked about earlier.
Yeah, which looks awesome. I love white consoles so much. But I never liked the philosophy behind Destiny. I was never even hyped about the original coming out. when it was coming out, and I had a lot of people, like a lot of my friends were going apeshit over it, and I'm like, dude, this isn't really great. All you're doing, like, I'm sitting here watching you play this game, and you're getting just frustrated at these raids, and you're doing these raids over and over to get this gun that ended up being nerfed anyway in the next update, and paying out the ass for all this DLC. None of this sounds enjoyable to me.
It's the same grind as Diablo, but in first person shooter form.
If only,
I get it, but
no. I'm gonna take you to task for that statement. If only it was that. Like, there have been so many examples in the past of developers coming out and trying to make like a first person MMO or something like that, right? Like Destiny was sort of like that. Then you had Project Titan, which later became Overwatch. You had Huxley. You've had countless other games try and have that magic, that MMO style feel, that persistent world where massively multiplayer, but it's first person shooter, and just everyone has either cut back the project or toned it down or really, kind of not delivered on that promise. And so what I'm looking for, what I'm really waiting for, is something that feels as alive and feels as deep and as engrossing as something like World of Warcraft, but a first person shooter. And I look at it and like, I feel like Bungie's the only company that could truly do that and do that justice and make that game. But for them to go back and say, we tried and now it's Overwatch now, like that, it's almost like, well, it can't be done now.
Blizzard? Do you mean Blizzard?
Who did I say?
You said
Activision?
Bungie.
Oh, Bungie. No, my fault. Yeah. Blizzard. Goodness. Well, they're in the same company, right? So yeah, Blizzard. Exactly. The makers of World of Warcraft, the makers of Overwatch, the makers of Diablo, they have all the tools. They have all the precedent set. They could make that first person MMO. And the fact that they tried and kind of failed at it, to be frank, it makes me wonder, like, I'd just love to be a fly on the wall during these development cycles, like what's going on behind the scenes where these games just seemingly aren't fun or aren't working out. Like, why can that not be a thing? I mean, I think to World of Warcraft, I spent hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours in that, and it was incredible. And I've never had a gaming experience like that before, and I don't know if I ever will again. But if I did play something like that, I'd want it to be a first person shooter, I feel like.
What's the I mean, there's kind of a game that is almost there in terms of an MMO first person shooter, like
are you thinking of PlanetSide?
PlanetSide 2. Yep.
It's not as much. I mean, it is massively multiplayer, but it's like warring factions, not as much like grinding for loot.
Okay. Yeah, because I never actually played it myself, but it's what it always sounded like to me.
Part of the reason why Borderlands got so successful back in 2008, 2009 when it first came out was because it did kind of emulate that Diablo kind of feel. And it was exactly the most successful. Yeah, it was the most successful at that.
Drop in and drop out party play, just the endless quest for loot, 20,000 different variations of guns. Like,
see, I've always thought that if Borderlands 3 ever does happen before Gearbox implodes on itself, it should be an MMO.
Should or shouldn't?
Should.
I mean,
or at least have some elements of it.
There must be some barrier to why they're not being made that way, though, because so many, like I said, so many developers are going in trying to make that game and then come out with something completely different at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and honestly though, like, how many times can you do the Borderlands thing though? Because I was playing through Borderlands 2 when Borderlands 2 came out, and I was like, okay, this is cool, but if you don't have friends to consistently play with, this gets old pretty quick.
That's the thing though, is if you do have, because I've had friends that played Borderlands 2 and I've racked up like 170 hours in that game because I had friends to play it with.
Exactly. Borderlands 1, the first one, I played over 100 hours. I played all the expansion passes, did everything, but I did it on a half screen, guys. Like a vertical half screen, because I had someone there to play sit next to me as well. And that was like, more than half of the reason why that game was so fun.
Right. I kind of want to talk to you guys about a game that came out of early access like last week, 2 weeks ago.
Early access.
Okay, so do you guys remember the game Mighty Number 9?
Of course.
How dare you speak that name on this show, Robert? That is a bad word on the Tiny Disc podcast.
I've broken the taboo. I said the M word.
I didn't know you were going to bring up Mighty Number 9. Well, I thought we were going to go somewhere else.
Well, okay, the game I played is not Mighty Number 9. I would rather lose a limb than say that game is good.
Hold on, real quick. I have no shame in admitting this to you both right now, but when I saw I saw the trailer for that Kickstarter for Mighty Number 9, like, I was getting choked up because I was so happy that game was being made. It was like an emotional response I had. I was super like, yes, make this game. This looks awesome. And I didn't give him any money for whatever reason. I was probably dead broke, at that time. But then when the final game came out and it looked nothing like the prototypes or anything, I was like, oh, it's garbage.
Do you remember the launch trailer for that game?
You mean the one with the really crazy 90s-esque announcer?
Yeah.
Anime fans on prom night.
Make them cry like anime fans on prom
night.
Oh, God. Okay, so look, I'm a pretty big Mega Man fan, especially Mega Man X. I don't know if I made it apparent on this podcast.
The first X?
Well, all of the X's. I just like the feeling of all the X's because it's like really great side-scrolling platforming fighting.
Mega Man X, one of the greatest 2D platformers of all time, and it's going to be on the Super NES Classic. Look forward to it.
Yep.
Even Mega Man XXX, the porn parody?
Yep, that's my favorite.
Okay. Please don't do this, guys. Please
it's
no.
It's the 30th one. It's pretty good.
Don't take us here. Don't take us here.
Okay. Refresh. So Mighty Number 9 was supposed to be like the new Mega Man, and that failed horribly, even though it had Keiji Inafune on its dev team, if I remember right.
Yeah, and he was quoted saying, "We did our best."
Yeah. So I found this game on early access like a year or two ago called 20XX, which is obviously a play on like, at the beginning of every Mega Man game, it's like in the year 20XX. So what 20XX is, it's a roguelike, right? But it's basically literally Mega Man X. So all the levels are procedurally generated, but they've all got like the whole platforming thing, and like you can choose to play as either Nina, who is X, so like the Mega Buster, or Ace, who is exactly like Zero. So you've got the Z Saber.
Is this like 16-bit style?
No, it's like cartoon hand-drawn graphics, but it feels very good. It flows very smoothly. Developed by Firehose Games. It feels really good. Like I even played it back when it was like still in early access, and I remember feeling like, man, this feels cool. This feels good. This feels like a Mega Man X game. Like they've got 8 bosses, and they've even got the whole like, this boss's power is super effective against that boss. Like it's that boss's weakness and stuff, so it does more damage and things like that. But they still add in roguelike elements, so like you can change what your weapon is. So it doesn't just have to be a Z Saber, for example, as I was about to say Zero as Ace, but like he has one where he like shoots out a lance and then it comes back to him, or he has another one where like in front of him is just like he's swiping like something and it's just shredding everything in front of him.
Wow.
Yeah. So and like Nina, she gets like, instead of a straightforward buster, she can get like a 3-pronged like pincer buster, or like it shoots in all 4 directions around her. So like there's different weapons, and then you can increase the amount of damage those weapons can do, or you can increase the amount of damage your powers can do, like the powers you get from the bosses.
That sounds interesting. It sounds a lot like, the source material. I'm looking at screenshots now. Graphics look pretty good. It's definitely a throwback style. The sprites seem kind of small. Can you talk about that?
I've never felt that they were too small. I
didn't say too small. I just said they look small. Like, are they smaller than you're used to with Mega Man? Or
I felt it was pretty all right, honestly. I never felt like the hitboxes were too weird. I always felt like whenever I got hit, I deserved to get hit because I ran into an enemy or whatever. I will say, like, if you die once, that ends the run and you have to start at the beginning again, and you have to like go through all 8 bosses again. And they've added like a final stage, and I've gotten to the final stage twice, and it is balls hard. Like I didn't even get to the boss of that stage because like the platforming is ridiculous.
And then when you die, you have to start all over from the beginning.
All over, unless you play the easy difficulty, then you get 3 lives.
Okay. Do you keep your level? Like, what do you keep?
Nothing. Okay, so
you don't keep anything. You don't keep XP or nothing.
Nope. So you get these resources called soul chips. And that's I think is the only thing you keep, and you can use it to like unlock items that can randomly spawn in the world, or like upgrades that you can start the game with and stuff like that.
Okay.
But like, if you have your power level up to like plus 18, it doesn't start at plus 18 for your next run.
It looks interesting. I'm looking at it. Yeah. Did you say how much it is already?
It's like $15 right now, I think.
Probably go up when it comes out.
It is out. It came out August 16th.
Out. I got you. Yeah, so it's out of early access. Okay.
It's official now. It's a 1.0 or like 1.04 or something like that.
Wow. No, it looks cool, man.
Yeah, no, I cannot recommend it enough if you want like Mega Man X style play, because it feels the same. Dashing, jumping, wall kicking.
Right now the reviews are 94% very positive, so that's boding well. Yeah, cool, man.
It's kind of funny though, because it's like I'm looking at the I just kind of pulled it up on like Google Images and stuff, and it's reminding me of Flash games almost, like the logo with like the character. I was like, this looks like some Flash games I used to play back in the day. Right. I mean, not that that's a bad thing. I've played a lot of really good Flash games, but that sort of reminds me of the graphics and the logo and stuff. But no, I'm glad it's getting good reviews, and that games like this are still very successful, especially with something like a new Metroid game coming out too, right? The Samus Returns. That's getting a lot of hype around it. By the way, coming out with they're releasing an exclusive new 3DS XL for the new Metroid game.
I saw
that. Pretty slick.
I saw that. Yeah, I just couldn't see myself putting money into that. I mean, I guess if you're in the market for a new 3DS, I guess some people are.
I was almost half like thinking of trading in mine to go towards that one, just because it's such a cool design. But
you gotta love it. You gotta want it. That'd probably cost you another $100.
Like, we're at the tail end though of like the 3DS's lifespan.
It's about to die.
It's true, and they're still charging $200 flat for the new 3DS XL, which is really surprising.
Wow.
Yeah, they haven't lowered the price at all.
Yeah, well, but of course that's Nintendo for you, man.
Yeah, well, they have the new 2DS XL, which they're charging $150 for, but whatever.
Well, to kind of build on this retro kind of look we've got with 20XX, I also played a game last night. We played a lot of games this week.
We really did.
It's happening now. The season is upon us. But no, I played a game, Windjammers, guys. That remake of the classic Neo Geo flying power disc was released on PS4 with online play, which is a first for the series. Obviously, they didn't have the internet back in Neo Geo days. It literally was not a thing.
I didn't even know what this is, but I'm looking at screenshots and this looks awesome,
bruh. Windjammers is the shit. It is incredible. It is such a fun party game, such a fun competitive game. The fact that the online netcode seems to be working really well. I might actually become a long-term subscriber to PlayStation Network now because of this.
Really? This is the game that pushes you over the edge?
I'm serious, man. Yeah, this game is that good because you can only have so much fun playing against the computer. Right. So what I did was, because I just wanted to get a feel for it, see how the emulation was working, and it seems to be on point. It has the right feel. The sounds are all there. The graphics look how I want them to look. You can also put on filters if that's your thing, or stretch it out to 69 ratio, which I never do.
Ooh, that's pretty neat.
Yeah, but you can. The option's there. But no, I beat the single player kind of campaign, quote unquote. I guess I just played all the other characters and then saw the credits. Basically, took me a while. It was a good challenge, but the easy mode is a little bit too easy. And then the next step up is a little bit too hard. So again, where this game is really going to shine is in multiplayer, either local or online. So if I ever, when I have people over here again, like for sure, this is a game that we're gonna pull out. Like Windjammers is that old classic. No one ever thought we could ever find the rights to it. Data East owned it. No one knew. They transferred. Companies bought other companies, and it was just kind of like thrown to the wind, right? Like, oh, this game will never be re-released. And then finally, like I think some French company, if I remember, I don't have the information for the new release, but I think they went through. They secured all the rights, and then they kind of remixed it and made it ready for modern consoles. So it's only on PlayStation 4 now. Just came out again yesterday, August 29th. So it's $15, and I highly, highly recommend it. So you haven't seen it before, Colin. You're looking at it now. What are your thoughts?
No. So I'm actually getting some, it kind of vaguely reminds me of Super Volleyball for the Nintendo entertainment system.
Interesting.
I don't know if do you ever play Super Volleyball, man?
Super Spike Volleyball, you mean?
I think
Super Spike V-Ball?
Excuse me. I meant Super Dodgeball.
Dodgeball, right. Okay.
That's what I meant. Super Dodgeball.
Yeah, that one's team-based. Yeah, that one's fun. That one's team-based, but this one's just kind of one-on-one. I mean, there are parallels, certainly. This game, though, is probably one of the best feeling kind of ping pong games ever. It's kind of like a frisbee ping pong with like special like fighting game moves. And like special,
yeah, dude, I'm like all about this. I'm gonna have to get this for sure.
It's dope. Well, okay. Well, then let me know. We should play online. That'd be fun.
Yes,
let's do it. Let's do it. It'll be good.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they release this on the Switch though, because the Switch is getting a lot of Neo Geo ports already.
I could see it going. Yeah, I could see it going places. I don't know if maybe Sony spent some money to get this on the console. I'm not sure, because it did make its debut at a Sony press conference. That's where it was. So that was where it's announced. So yeah. So I don't know if there's going to be some kind of contract, but I would love to see this on Switch. But the good news is, as well, this is crossplay. So if you buy it on either the PlayStation Vita or the PlayStation 4, you can play it on the other platform free of charge. Nice. So that's awesome. So that's good news. So to have this on Vita is awesome. And if you've never seen or heard of Windjammers before, it is an absolute classic. There is a heavy competitive scene in France, of all places. Huge following in France. Like, they get hardcore competitive over some Windjammers. Yeah, it's really funny.
Yeah, that's crazy. Jack, I kind of want to hear you talk about Madden Longshot mode, or as some might be calling it, Telltale Madden series.
I feel so lucky. I got time to. I mean, I had to stay inside because of the storm all weekend, so like I just had really nothing but time to play games. I'm really lucky my internet and my power didn't go out. But Madden, I played some of that long shot mode, and it's real, guys. It's good.
It's good.
Yes.
It's good.
Yes.
It's good.
It's good. Game. Oh, go ahead.
Do you create your own character, or is it one of those like you're playing as this guy?
No, you are definitely a guy. Like, you do not create your own character. You are a character like that they have predefined for you and the storyline for you. And I don't know how deep into it I want to get. I mean, it's very much like a Telltale game. It's very much like Life is Strange with like Madden like into it. It's
could you turn
really
back
cool.
time?
You definitely do flashbacks. Yeah, you definitely play. You definitely play like all the way from
back time.
Nice share. If you like, you could play like in his high school days. I played a high school game like where he was on a flashback. Like, we drove past his high school, then he looked at the field. Then I played a high school game, and then you also play. He went to U of T, University of Texas, Longhorns, and Hook'em, and he. You play as that as well. I guess that's the closest we're gonna get to playing college ball anymore on video game
they
consoles.
even have like they had like the logos and the uniforms in the game.
Yeah, they paid for that.
I watched a little bit of gameplay. I was like, that's crazy that they even had all that.
They paid for that. Yeah, you're like in the room like with the coaches. Like, if you have problems, I mean, there's a lot of personal. It's not just like, oh, I want to be the baddest ass football player either. It's like goes real deep down. I don't want to spoil the story too much, but real deep down into the guy's like family life, his personal life, his story, his journey. And he really is a long shot because he's facing a lot of adversity. It's no easy task getting to the pros. Like, you are really crazy. It's called long shot for a reason, because no one thinks you're ever going to get there, but you have the talent. And it's really interesting how the decisions you make really affect what happens later down the road. Like, I won't say too much, but if you decide to do so much as maybe even take a selfie with somebody, that could affect your draft prospects based on what they do with that selfie. Right, like real life, like it goes real deep, man. So I'm saying that Madden long shot mode, they put a lot of money and effort in that. And that's no joke. And I really think, for me personally, I really think it's worth the price of the game so far, and it's long too.
Like, okay, so when you make a decision, do they do that Telltale thing in the upper left, like John Madden will remember that?
Exactly.
Does it do that?
Well, it doesn't say John Madden will remember that, but it'll say your draft prospect has either gone up or gone down.
Oh, that's cool.
You'll get immediate feedback right away. And you're like, shit, reset. Like, reload this.
John Madden is all knowing and all seeing.
Madden is angry with you. Boom.
Wait, so the person you're playing as, is he a real life football boy or just some kind of made up?
It's just a character.
Okay.
Yeah, it's fiction, but I mean, this story has played itself out so many times in real life. Very realistic.
His best friend.
Very relatable story.
His best friend reminds me of like a character from Varsity Blues.
Totally. That is his character. That totally is his character.
Hey, Marks, they scared my cat.
I'm looking forward to seeing where this goes. I'm looking forward to getting the pros. I'm looking forward to seeing like what it's like in the locker room. I'm sure there's going to be some really epic, kind of twists and turns. And I would be sort of disappointed if the game, because it's so predictable, right? I hope the last level of the game isn't you win the Super Bowl. Like, I'd rather be a much more grounded, and I don't know what's going to happen, obviously, but I'd rather be a much more grounded, realistic kind of story. Not that super cliche rise to win the Super Bowl kind of story. That's very predictable.
Yeah, I wonder if it's like, what if they pull like a Friday? It was a Friday Night Lights where they get to like the championship and they don't win.
Exactly.
They lose.
Yeah. That's, and to me, like games or movies like that, stories like that, like that's what I thought was so interesting about the first Rocky movie, was that he doesn't win. He loses to Apollo Creed, but he falls in love with Adrian. Like I thought that was a more satisfying ending for me.
Right. So based on the choices you make and all, right, does that determine actually what team you get on once your character goes to the pros? Or is it kind of like you're set on a track?
I have a feeling there is a certain track that you will go. I don't know this though.
Okay.
I don't know what happens, but I have a feeling there is a sort of path, but there are multiple branches and branches on branches that you could potentially go down. Now, one thing that I wouldn't be surprised though if it affected what team you go to. I'm sure there's maybe a small subsection of maybe 5 or 6 teams that you could potentially go to, right? But another aspect of this game we haven't even talked about yet is just like the simulation and the way it looks in Frostbite Engine now. Now I kind of understand why if you play Madden, that's the one game you play, because this game is mad deep. They have franchise mode. They have your ultimate team mode. They have, they have like all kinds of different things to get into. And that's not even talking about online. Like there are people get paid hundreds of thousands of dollars to be professional Madden players now.
Yeah,
which has been a thing.
I never got that. I remember seeing people like, like pro esports athletes who are like Madden players. And I'll never knock anyone for playing esports, but I'm just like, yo, you're playing a game about a real life sports game.
Yeah, no, it's an extra level of like nerdyism, right? Yeah. But one thing that really struck me was I just really wanted to kind of dive in because I'm pretty familiar with the sport of football. I'm pretty familiar with video games. This is, though, however, the first Madden game I've bought in at least 10, 11 years. Yeesh. Because one time I bought one, had a really bad experience with it being so buggy and just being almost unplayable. I just like kind of traded it in and I swore the series off. But with the long shot mode, with the new additions to this game, this being the first one I bought in such a long time, I'm liking it so far. It's definitely worth the money for how much game you get. One thing I do want to say before we move on to the next topic is that this is the first time I've ever played a video game, sports video game specifically, and the commentary has actually scared me with how like accurate and good it is. Like it really is like, how did they even do this? I'm like marveling at the play-by-play because they're talking about like things I did last half, things I did, last drive.
Holy crap.
Like and it sounds like actual TV. And I'm sitting there like slackjawed, like what? And it doesn't sound like all jilted or anything like that. It sounds completely natural. It's the most convincing play-by-play I've ever heard in any sports game.
Are these real like actual ESPN announcers or something?
Yeah, they are. Yeah,
That's
they
cool.
are. I mean, it's the layer of granularity to what they're talking about. They're like, well, last drive on third down, he only got four yards. He's averaging, 5.3 per carry. Let's see what happens this play. Like that kind of stuff.
That's creepy, dude.
Yeah, I was creeped out. I was like, whoa, like what's going on?
I wonder how many lines of commentary they actually have to do for these games.
Exactly, dude. To sound like
some
that.
Really good coding too, it sounds like.
I know, they've definitely upped the game, yeah.
What if it's one of those things where they only had to record like a minute of those guys talking and everything is procedurally generated?
That's what I'm thinking. Like, is this an AI? Like, it's what it sounds like. It sounds like an AI, but with an actual convincing human, like, dialect and inflection. You just got to hear it. I don't know.
That's crazy.
The very first game, just in the first half, I was like, this play-by-play is freaking me out. It was so good. So I had to bring it up.
Much like me talking about Death Note, you are really selling this game for me, and I'm not a sports game person.
Dude, just check out the story mode. I'm telling you, it's long enough. I think it's something worth looking into. I don't think they'll ever break it out and be its own thing. They'll never do that. They'll always keep this together, but there's a lot of game there.
It's still no Tecmo Bowl.
I never got into Tecmo Bowl as much as people did. I think I was too young at the time, but that is a beloved series, man. It's fun. I was always into Madden.
I was scrolling through Facebook the other day, just real quick on a side note, and Mega 64, which I think it was Mega 64, released like a parody video, and it was like Tecmo Bowl back in the day versus Madden now. It was so good. And this guy like walks in. He's like, "Hey, son, want to play Tecmo Bowl?" And he's like, "All right, Dad." And so they like sit down and they get set up and they slide the cartridge in. They blow on it again and they put it in. They play and they're playing and have a good old time. And then it shows the kid grown up like later in life. He's like, "Hey, son, want to play Madden?" And so he puts it in his Xbox and he's like, "What's going on?" And his son's like, "Oh, it has to update." So like he's like 30 minutes later. It's like, "Okay, time to play the game." So turns it on. Oh, it's got to install 30 games.
Sounds about right.
That is totally
and then
the experience.
They get into the game, and then he's like, "What's going on? Like franchise mode, exhibition mode, long shot mode. What is all this?" And then it reverts back to them playing Tecmo Bowl. It's like, "Yeah, I think I'm gonna play the Raiders. I heard Bo Jackson's pretty good."
Nice. Herschel Walker's in this one.
Yeah, exactly. And the kid's like, "Yeah, I love this. Thanks so much, Dad." And he's like, "Son, want to go get ice cream?" They're like, "Yeah." And they flash back to the modern day. The kid's like, "What the fuck, man? This game sucks."
That's awesome. That sounds funny, man.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna keep playing it, man. So Madden's a thing.
Great to hear. Colin, you played a game too, right? Do you want to talk about it?
Yeah. So, as if I don't talk about it enough, but I finally got to get my hands on Yakuza Kiwami. I got to go back to the Kamurocho district of Tokyo, Japan, and continue the story of Kazuma Kiryu and see what's going on with him. So, like, I cannot talk about like the story of these games. I cannot talk about it how great it is enough. Like, let me give you like the quick non-spoiler plot synopsis to give you an idea of how crazy these stories get, because they just leave you wanting to know like what the hell is going on.
You got 20 seconds. Colin, go.
Yeah. Okay. So when his best friend Akira Nishi. Oh my god, these names are too hard. When his
15.
best friend Akira Nishikiyama murders their boss, Yakuza Kazuma Kiryu takes the blame to protect him and spends 10 years in prison. Upon being released, Kiryu discovers that both the Tojo clan and Nishikiyama have changed dramatically while he was away. His childhood friend Yumi has gone missing, and everyone is searching for 10 billion yen that was stolen from the clan. As war erupts through the streets of Kamurocho, Kiryu makes his mission to find Yumi and the missing money, as well as to protect Haruka, a mysterious young girl whom everyone seems to be after.
Are you reading this off a press release?
That was Wikipedia.
Nice. The source of all knowledge.
Okay, so you played like 5 hours or so, right?
Yeah, so it's not much different. So let me back up. Yakuza Kiwami is like a remake of the original Yakuza for the PS2. It's literally like they kept all of the animations and the cutscenes, but they just redid them in the current engine that was used for Yakuza 0. They added a lot of features and stuff, a lot of mini games. They basically just took all the assets and then just kind of revamped them a little from Yakuza 0 and then put that out.
Obviously, it's only on PS4. Is it full price?
No. So that's the nice thing. It's actually only $30.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah. So honestly, it's kind of an over glorified like standalone expansion, and they changed the pricing accordingly for that, and so I kind of really appreciate that. So I'm not going to fault it too much for reusing assets and all that stuff. But the story is it continues on, and it's actually like a 17-year time skip from Yakuza 0. So it's like a really long time, and a lot of stuff happens. But the combat, like they add like a new fighting style. They, and you only play as one protagonist this time around. But it's more Yakuza, man, and that's all there is. That's all you really need to know to sell me on it.
Just put the name on a disc, give it to Colin.
Yeah, pretty much, dude. At this point,
the cash.
Yeah. I mean, so yeah, this game dropped yesterday, by the way.
Yeah, I know that you're excited too for Yakuza Kiwami 2, right? That's been announced.
So yeah, Yakuza Kiwami 2, and it's running in Yakuza 6's engine, the Dragon engine, as it's called.
And this is another side thing, actually, but do you know the anime Fist of the North Star?
Yes, and it's because Yakuza team is making a game, right?
Yes, they're making
Fist of the North Star?
a game for that, which sounds like the perfect, like not disaster, but it's a perfect good thing that'll happen, I think.
Oh yes, 100%. The combat is so much fun in Yakuza.
I believe it.
Honestly, in Kiwami, I feel like they upped the difficulty. Like a lot of the enemies that I've faced so far have been pretty damn difficult. Like they've had a lot of health, and like they just don't go down nearly as easily as some of the enemies did in 0. But they do that thing where they do that thing like in some games where you start the story right, and you're overpowered as hell, and you're kicking everyone's ass. And then when Kiryu goes to prison, he comes out, and of course he's like lost his edge, quote unquote. He's like rusty, so they use that as an excuse to basically take away a lot of your upgrades, and you have to get him back again. And that's how you level up in the game.
That's actually kind of cool.
Basically, your Yakuza starter kit, 4 items you need: Japan, Mafia, Pachinko, and ass kicking.
Pretty much.
Fair enough.
I mean, it's pretty much Japanese Game of Thrones, honestly.
Yeah.
Modern Japanese Game of Thrones.
Japan of Thrones.
Yeah, exactly.
I like it.
Right.
But yeah, man, that's pretty much all there is to it. It's Yakuza.
Oh, that's good to hear. Well, that wraps up all the games we've been playing, I think, for this week. Man, that was a lot.
Yeah, it was.
We're actually playing video games this time. Yeah,
I know. It's like we got to make up for all lost time, man.
Yeah. So let's start talking about some news. No, we can wait.
That's the news.
There it is.
2 hours later.
That's the news. So Secret of Mana, remember that game, guys?
Sorta.
I wish I wish it was that game, like one of those games I played when I was younger. I played one of the Mana games, but Secret of Mana is definitely like up there with Chrono Trigger on my list of games to finish.
Right.
For sure.
I mean, it's definitely been one of those well-kept secrets of the gaming industry.
Is it a welcome secret? I thought everyone knew. Sarcasm.
Yeah.
Ooh, over my head.
So yeah, it was originally released in early 90s. I want to say 93 or 94.
Okay.
And
that sounds right.
Yeah, and now it's getting a super HD like remake re-release thing with like actual sprites. Well, not like 3D like models and stuff to replace the sprites, and it's like a whole new like look for the world, but it's supposedly supposed to be just like a remake of the original.
You know, one thing that stands out to me with Secret of Mana is that it was on Super Nintendo, right? 2 controller ports in the front. It was a 3-player multiplayer game.
That's right.
Yeah, you could put in a Hudson adapter or whatever for another controller and have 3 players. So you shared the screen and like you just kind of teamed up. And so I thought that was really cool. Obviously, I'm sure that feature will be added to this one, but it
is confirmed.
This is a classic example to me. Okay, I don't know what you guys think of this, but this is a classic example of be careful what the fuck you wish for. Because when I saw this trailer, I was like, no. Nothing.
Really?
Nothing about this. Nothing. The voice acting sounded like shite.
So bad.
So bad. The graphics, like I don't want that. Look, man. Bad. Look at Final Fantasy. Look what they did to Final Fantasy 3. Look on the DS. Look what they did to Final Fantasy 4 on the DS. They ruined those games. Not ruined them forever, but they didn't do the series any favors. I don't expect this to be good. I don't expect to like this. It's just my thoughts. The voice acting like killed it for me. And, and here's the thing. It's a great timeless 2D RPG. There is nothing wrong with Secret of Mana right now as it is. You can buy it on Wii U. You can buy it on Wii. You can buy it on Virtual Console. You can buy it on 3DS probably. You can buy it. It'll be on the SNES Classic. Obviously, no one's going to get that one. But, you know, like... this will not improve the image of Secret of Mana. It'll bastardize and introduce it to a whole new generation of players that'll wonder probably what the big deal was. I hate to be so pessimistic, but it's like, all right, Colin, you seem like saddened by this. Look at your face. You look so solemn.
I mean, it's just, it's a game that I'm like really looking forward to play. I was going to play the original anyway, regardless if this was ever a thing anyway. But, I don't know, like I didn't think it was that bad considering it's coming out on the Vita. Obviously the voice acting was a little iffy for me too. But I also know it's getting dual audio, so you'll be able to switch it to Japanese if you want to and just run it with subtitles, which is fine.
The original game doesn't have any voices. It doesn't need them.
It was all
And here's
text.
the thing. If you're playing RPG on Vita, you're playing Undertale, my friend. That's the one.
That's true.
Dude, I have so many JRPGs on my Vita. It's stupid.
Yeah, but Undertale's 8 hours.
True.
For one run.
Yeah, it's about 10, 12 hours to see the whole game.
Yeah. I remember like I looked at this trailer and I wasn't all that impressed, even by like the looks of it, because I think it's coming out on PS4 as well and PC. And
PC?
Right.
I think so. Yeah, you could not pre-order on Steam, but you can like add it to your wish list on Steam right now. Ooh. And I remember looking at those graphics and thinking like, is this a 3DS game?
Yeah, dude.
Like they look like 3DS sprites.
It's bad looking,
that's
man.
a fair assumption. I was underwhelmed for sure by the graphics.
Like the lighting.
But when they said Vita, I kind of got it a little bit more. But then again, like I said earlier, Ys 8's coming out, and it's going to be on PS4 and Vita, and it looks really good on the Vita.
Dude, but wait 2 months, another Ys will appear. There's like so many Ys games coming out now all the time.
To be fair, Ys Origins was the last one that came out before this one, and that was actually an older game. It was out on a different platform.
I don't know.
And it's like being brought to another one. That's why it's in the press now. But I don't know. Like, yeah, Ys 8 looks great, and I guess so. It doesn't really excuse how the graphics look in the Secret of Mana remake. I don't know. Yeah. I didn't think they were horrible, but they're not impressive by any means.
Yeah. Speaking of things that aren't impressive, let's talk about the Xbox One. So Microsoft is officially not, like, their factories are not making any more original Xbox Ones, like the ones that launched 4 years ago now.
Yeah, right. Thank God.
Yeah, those are not being manufactured anymore. I mean, there's probably still some on the shelf because no one's buying them. But they're now only going to be manufacturing the new Xbox One S and the upcoming, to be released on November 7th, Xbox One X.
Yeah, all those parents out there getting confused during the holiday season and buying the wrong console for their kid.
Yeah, seriously.
It is creating a lot of marketing confusion, isn't it? Having that naming convention.
S and X. Yeah, that's
they're pretty close.
Easy slip of the tongue there.
Yeah. I hope they don't make an Xbox One E.
See, this is always like bound to happen. Like, I mean, you're sitting in marketing rooms, you're sitting in, economics class. It's whenever these two lines on a graph intersect of like cost versus profits, right? That's why they're discontinuing this, because it's more expensive to make the old one than it is to make the new one now. So once those lines kind of cross, they're like, all right, cut it. It's discontinued now. We're moving on. And thank the heavens, because that is one of the ugliest, nastiest, stupidest consoles ever made.
Yeah.
It will not be missed. It will not be remembered fondly, most especially the Kinect. Like,
oh yeah.
It's kind of looked at, that launch, that console at $500, kind of looked at as a definite inflection point of when that company started going downhill.
Yeah.
And the fact that you can't set it vertical, by the way.
Right.
As you learn the hard way, yeah.
You're right. Yeah, you can't play disc on that damn thing vertical.
Guys, real quick. Oh, go ahead.
Well, no, go ahead.
I was going to say, well, this is off topic, but like real quick breaking news. I was just looking up on Steam. I guess Ark Survival Evolved, a game I literally paid for like 2 years ago, apparently just got released. Like it's out now.
It's officially out.
Yeah, it came out yesterday to mixed reviews.
Oh, it's no longer early access.
Exactly, dude. It's been like years. Like since I built my PC in 2015, it's been in early access and I've owned it. But I guess it's out now, mixed reviews. Did Epic make this game?
I don't know. I don't really follow Ark. I always found it to be one of those like early access, like jewels that really isn't that great.
Right. No, I tried to get into it. It seemed like it was trying to be more hardcore version of Minecraft where you ride dinosaurs, which sounds kind of cool on paper, but I mean, it's popular for a reason. I just haven't really put the time into it. But that's all. I just want to say, oh shit, that's out.
Yeah. Let's see. Well, so Half-Life 2. You guys played that game, right?
Oh, yes.
Like all the episodes. Like here, okay, I'm coming off of like super left field because I've never played a Half-Life game. I just learned today that there are like multiple episodes of Half-Life 2.
You just learned that today?
I had to break it down for Robert. Yeah, I had to break it down for Robert a little bit.
Look, Half-Life isn't what, like, I know the name. No, I don't know the name. What's his name? Morgan?
Gordon Freeman.
The Freeman.
Gordon Freeman.
Yeah, G-Man.
Yep.
Oh man, Robert.
Yeah. No, I don't know a thing about Half-Life.
I would argue that Half-Life 2 is one of the most important video games to come out in our lifetime. I would put out there. It's a seminal release.
I'll believe it.
What do you think, Colin? You back me up or you disagree?
Yeah, no, I completely agree. It changed the face of modern shooters as we know it. It's a very, very important game. We probably wouldn't have the Call of Duties and the Battlefields the way we know them today, for sure.
So much about that game. I remember. I mean, I forgot a lot because it's 10 years since we saw episode 2 on that massive cliffhanger. It is 10 years now. I don't know if we should just spoil it, but like it was awesome.
Honestly,
series.
I don't remember a crazy amount about the story. Of course, I remember the cliffhanger ending.
Yeah.
But I don't remember the nitty-gritty details.
Right. So why are we talking about this?
Yeah, the reason we're bringing up Half-Life is one of the old writers who is part of Half-Life, right? Like the Half-Life writing team. He recently published essentially a fanfic He called it like what, Epileptic 3 or something. It was
Epistle 3.
Epistle 3, yeah, which is basically episode 3, and he like gender swapped the 2 of the characters. But people are kind of taking this as like almost official, like this is totally what Half-Life 2 episode 3 would have been if it happened.
Yeah, Mark Laidlaw, is the writer that worked on the series, and he was recently left Valve last year. So now he's kind of gotten around to this quote unquote fanfic now, and it just so happens to kind of substitute names for certain things. And when you kind of get the hint of what he's talking about, it definitely sounds like this is Half-Life episode 3 now, which is like unbelievably awesome to hear. But at the same time, it also is kind of sad because this coming out and being made public almost sounds like the final nail in the coffin that we'll never actually see a Half-Life 3. Like it's real bittersweet.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, I've noticed Laidlaw's, he's continuously saying like, guys, like I just happened to publish it today on the anniversary. Like it was a coincidence. I didn't plan this. And he's going on like, I mean, who knows if this will happen. I'm just speaking as a fan. Like I'm not saying this is official or anything. Right.
Yeah. It was just fanfic, guys. It's just something I thought of. Like, no, this is totally and it makes total sense. It goes with the continuity of the story. Man, if I know there's probably a lot of people listening that may have never played Half-Life 2, let alone the episodes 1 and 2, but seriously, one of the most important games to come out in the last 30 years. Like it introduced like linear storytelling in first-person shooters. The first Half-Life did for me, and then the second one
and
just
it still
built
holds
on it.
up too. It does.
Oh yeah, Half-Life 2 totally holds up. There's something interesting here as well. There's a yard gnome, like a very just normal looking yard gnome that is in the beginning of the game or near the beginning, and you have this gravity gun that can like pick up and move objects. If you take that gnome all the way to the end of the game, which is like 50, 60 like real world like miles away from where you are, if you take it the whole time, you get like an achievement or you get a special ending or something like that. But they reward that. And like I remember like a real tricky part is like there's a real long like dune buggy section where you're driving this dune buggy across the country, and you have to like find a way to bring the gnome with you across the country.
That's crazy.
It's pretty sweet.
Just put it in the passenger seat, right? Or wait, no, there isn't one, is there?
No, it's tricky to do. It is doable, but they don't make it easy for you. But that game, man, it's we're never gonna see a Half-Life 3. It's so sad, man. But I've always wanted at least finish that story, because with the cliffhanger, like I don't know, should we just say what happens?
I don't know. I think we should probably like move on, actually.
Okay, the cliffhanger, cliffhanger is so good. So I mean, check out the story. You can Google it yourself and read. But this is Half-Life 3's story, kind of made public.
Yeah. So like Jack said, it's probably likely we're not going to see a Half-Life 3. But you know what we will be able to see, because everyone asked for it and everyone's so excited for this. We get to see Assassin's Creed in our Final Fantasy and some Final Fantasy in our Assassin's Creed.
Yeah, were you playing through Final Fantasy 15 with Noctis and your boys, just running across and all the lands and driving in your car and be like, it would be cool if fucking Noctis would dress as Altair.
Yeah, I remember back in 2000, 2008, 9, where I was playing as Ezio, and I was thinking, man, this is cool and all, but I wish I could like throw my sword and teleport to whoever it hit. Like.
This is a weird one. I never saw this coming. This is totally out of left field.
Never in a million years did I ever see this happen.
Yeah, so like Ubisoft and Square Enix are kind of teaming up, and like their flagship franchises, I guess, are like cross promoting. So I think actually this week the Final Fantasy 15 Assassins update
today,
or something,
as we speak.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah.
So they're having an Assassins update or something where you get like costumes that basically makes all your boys look like assassins, like with the white robes and the hood and everything. And there's actual like parkour, like they've implemented some system of parkour that's
which it actually makes me pretty happy. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, honestly, it looks weirdly cool. Like I don't know if I'd boot up Final Fantasy again to like play it, but
I'm definitely gonna have to check it out. just to mess around with it.
Like at least it's free. It's better than like, hey, you want to buy our cross promotional marketing material? Like that'd be shitty. But it's a free update. That's nice. And then I think in Assassin's Creed Origin, when that comes out in like October, like. I don't really know the details exactly, but somehow your main character, what's his name, Bayek or something, he can get some weapons from Final Fantasy 15 or something.
I mean, they showed the promo poster painting thing or whatever, and it showed him with the engine blade.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he gets that. I don't know if it's like a hidden item.
So this is free across both franchises. Then you're not gonna have to get a season pass or something stupid like that.
It's just an update. Yeah, okay. It's just a free update.
I guess you can't complain too much with that. I mean, it's like having your cake eating it too, I guess. But
yeah,
just so weird. I wonder what other like kind of mashups they're planning in the future with Final Fantasy with this kind of thing going on. I can see. Yeah, good.
That just kind of came out of left field.
Right. I mean, nobody expected Marvel versus Capcom. You know what I mean?
Back in the day. Yeah. But that one,
if you think about it, like it's a very random thing. It's like, hey, let's take Marvel characters, throw them into a fighting game, and then pit them against Street Fighter and other Capcom characters. Like,
it worked out though.
It did.
I mean, it's huge.
Look, Marvel v. Capcom 3, right? That's coming out pretty soon, actually.
4.
Is it
Infinite?
Infinite.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's still going on strong.
We'll see, guys. I mean, there was Mario and Rabbids that worked out. So
Mario and Rabbids happened.
There is room
for some reason.
I can't wait for my Uncharted Mario crossover.
Dude, Ubisoft is like doubling down on these like partnerships, right? Square Enix, Nintendo.
Oh man, that Far Cry 5. What would that mash up well with?
Far Cry 5, Kingdom Hearts.
Yo,
you get to oppress all the Disney Kingdom.
Yeah, okay, no, what if you have to help Sora out, and then in Kingdom Hearts 3 there's a world that's Hope County, Montana?
Dude, no, Sora becomes
Welcome to Hope County, Montana.
Sora becomes the megalomaniac, like, right? He's like the dictator on a throne of skulls, of goofy skulls.
It would be more like Donald, because Donald never heals anyone, so he just deserves to die.
That's it. Far Cry 3 and Kingdom Hearts.
I want it now. Yves Guillermo, make it happen.
I would spend money on that.
Oh, same.
That's worth a few doubloons.
Yeah. So I know we talk about Player Unknown's Battlegrounds a lot on this podcast, and we kind of say the same story but on a different scale. So
we're about to do that right now.
Yeah, we're about to do it again. So Dota 2, the historically most played game on Steam, can't really say that for officially all the time. PlayerUnknown's Battleground actually had more concurrent peak players or concurrent players at one point last weekend than Dota 2.
It's breaking every single record.
And on top of that, it surpassed Counter-Strike Global Offensive's record for all-time most concurrent players on at once.
I know this is just a term that people throw around, but I honestly mean it when I say I never thought I'd see the day where Dota 2 and Counter-Strike were not on top. This is crazy. I thought this was going to be a semi-popular game. People would know it if you brought it up casually among gamers, but this is all of a sudden now the biggest game in the world, kind of.
Yeah. And
and it's not even out, by the way.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. I can kind of see it surpassing CSGO, just because I feel there's an overlap in a person that plays CSGO and a person that plays PlayerUnknown's. That's probably not mutually exclusive. I feel people would dabble in both. It's not that hard to imagine.
But CSGO is so contingent, its popularity is so contingent on its pro scene. That's why you come to that game, right? So is the pro scene on PUBG really blowing up like that, or is this a bunch of casuals?
You said the C word again.
The C word.
I don't know. I mean, I know that they've added sprays in PUBG of the different teams' logos and stuff, the pro teams. Mm-hmm. I know they had some kind of invitational recently. I don't really know how big that got because I didn't watch it. But yeah, I think it's crazy that it surpassed Dota 2, because Dota 2 is it casually hits 1 million players on at a time.
Yeah, on a Tuesday, right? It's it ain't no thing.
Yeah, everyone likes playing Dota 2.
Do we have the official record-breaking number?
I think I can pull it up here.
Okay.
So let's see. On Sunday, I guess 4 days ago, Brendan Green, PlayerUnknown himself,
the man, the myth.
Yeah, the man, the myth, the legend, creating that ultimate battleground. On August 27th, the game peaked at 877,000 players, nearly 878,000 players.
This is to keep in mind too. This is a Steam record. Wow. Like I would venture to guess that maybe Minecraft might have more at its peak.
Right.
You know, I'm only guessing here. I don't have the hard data, but like this is on Steam specifically, where most of the games are played by the most people.
Right.
Traditionally.
And at that point, that was a almost 35,000 player lead over Dota 2.
That's so unreal, man.
Yeah.
Incredible.
The loot system too in that game is, or the loot box or whatever unlocking system, the reward system, however you want to call it, is so broken and jank too.
Yeah.
There's so much jank in that game. That game is jank. It's like Skyrim on PS3. I feel like. I mean, it's getting better.
It's like Skyrim without mods.
Yeah, it's getting better, but it's like there's so much broken about it. I love that we talked about the horn update and all that. Like, like they're gonna have to. I love it as it is, but they're gonna have to do something about it. But hey, man, that game is good. I still continue to deign to play it. I haven't really spent a lot of time, in it as much as I want to. In fact, while we're doing this podcast, I had a friend try and ping me and get me to play. I'm like, dude, I'm doing a podcast now. Now's not a good time, but yeah. it's blowing up in a huge way, man. Happy to say I was one of the early ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just gonna build my imaginary PC and hurry up and play already. Jeez,
you're not allowed to talk about that anymore, Colin.
I'm just done talking about it. I'm not gonna say anything until it's actually a thing.
Just buy an Xbox One X before you can't buy them anymore, and then you can play it in like half a year.
Yeah. Do it, man.
And so lastly here, I don't want to spend too much time on this because like we don't have many details. But Nintendo had a spotlight today, a little stream where they kind of showcased a bunch of their indie games that are coming to the Switch. Just kind of like rebuild hype for it. A majority of those games they were announced there. It was like the first time anyone's heard of them probably. There wasn't that much that stood out. Honestly, I think like once some of those smaller games get a lot more like marketing geared toward them directly, I think it'll be cooler to see what they can do. But at this point, it was kind of like a rapid fire, like here's a 30-second trailer of this, and then here's a really bad pun that leads into the next game we're going to talk about, and 30 seconds of that.
Was there I have a question. Was there any Reggie Fils-Aimé like staring like dead-eyed into the camera talking about how he's out for blood?
No, it wasn't Reggie on this one. It was some guy who's like the leader of their indie initiative or whatever, Nintendo America. But there was a point where this guy, he didn't have a lapel mic, so it was a boom mic. And there's a game that they announced that was like it's breakdancing rhythm game. Like you put in your breakdancing rhythms and get a score. But he was talking about like, you ready to drop some mad beats, yo? And then he grabs the boom mic from above him, pulls it down, and just starts beatboxing into it for like 5 seconds. And I'm like, I need help. I need an adult. And then he stops because he realizes this is stupid. And it's like, here's the game.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, dude.
I'm not entirely surprised to hear this. I mean, Nintendo's they've gone a weird way.
Just stop with the live stuff, please.
Yeah. I mean, dude, they're getting real street now, aren't they? They're beatboxing. They've got Luigi dabbing. Like they got Mario dabbing.
How do you do, follow kids?
Yeah.
E is for everyone. E is for dabbing.
You got the ESRB. I haven't forgot that, Colin. You scarred me, dude. You got the ESRB and Nintendo chumming it up. Ooh, drinking it.
But some highlights, I think, that like I went through it and I found like these games to be pretty worth talking about, or at least mentioning. So Super Meat Boy is getting a sequel, a proper sequel, and it's coming to the Switch. It's called Super Meat Boy Forever. That game is like pretty critically acclaimed. It's kind of a indie darling back when indie was first becoming a real big thing.
You can punch now.
Hella fun. Hella frustrating.
Is this coming out concurrently on other platforms, or is this like a Switch exclusive or a Switch timed exclusive?
I have no clue. I just saw the release dates on the video itself.
Okay.
So that's coming out 2018. Shovel Knight King of Cards, I think it's like an expansion to Shovel Knight, is coming out also early 2018. Let's see here. They had a couple, like there's an RPG, but like it's golfing. But it's like
yes.
Golf Story.
Golf Story. I was waiting for this. This game looks awesome.
Yo.
This game looks awesome. I'm not even kidding.
It just
You're
looks
shaking your
funny
head at me,
Robert. I mean, I'm someone who doesn't find golf entertaining at all, but it looked funny.
Dude, one of the first games I bought on my Switch was Neo Turf Masters.
No, I'm talking golf, the real sport.
Oh, fuck all that. Yeah, golf. No, golf sucks. I'm talking about golf video games, dude. Golf video games are really fun for the most part. Also of note, we didn't really bring it up, but Everybody Golfs just got released.
Everybody's Golf.
Apologies.
I have.
Yeah.
What? Is everybody
today.
Everybody is a golf?
Everybody's Golf? Is that what it's called? Am I saying it right?
Possessive, yes.
Okay.
It's everybody's possessive golf
on PS4, yes. And it's like it's basically the sequel to Clap Hands' Hot Shots Golf.
Oh, yeah, Hot Shots Golf. Yeah,
dude, like I love me some golf games, but golf is an actual sport. Like, nah, I'll go to a driving range and hit a few balls, like that's fun, but I'd never play actual golf.
Fair enough.
Arcade sports games. That's where it's at.
Neo Turf Masters, the killer app for the Nintendo Switch.
Okay.
Let's see other games they announced at the Nindy Spotlight. So they announced that Kentucky Route Zero, which Colin, you were excited about.
So I just saw a trailer for it and I had no idea what it was, but the trailer like really set a nice mood and I have no idea what the gameplay is. Like, what is it?
It's a storytelling game. I've never played it myself, nor have I seen gameplay, but it looks like a low poly Telltale game. That's kind of what I'm gathering from it.
Interesting.
It's very episodic. I remember hearing about this game for the first time like 2 years ago, and it's still not done. They still haven't released the 5th episode. But when they release it on the Switch next year, 2018, they'll also release it with the final episode, and I think the final episode will also drop on like Steam and wherever else the game is.
Okay. Yeah. I'll keep an eye on it then, because it like the visuals of it really interest me, and the trailer was really moody and atmospheric and dark.
Right.
So I was kind of sold on it.
Let's see. There's 9 Parchments, which is like a 4-player wizard co-op game by the people who behind Trine. If you guys have ever played that game,
fun.
It sounds like Magicka.
Yeah, but like better. It's not like ARPG style, kind of.
Okay.
And then probably like the crowning thing for me at least is Suda51's No More Heroes. Travis Strikes Back.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's coming out to the Switch. And I'm actually really excited about that because I never owned a Wii or a Wii U. So I've never played the,
Oh, really?
No More Hero games.
I owned the second one because I got it for cheap for the Wii, and I still haven't played it yet, but they remade or they ported anyway. I think the first one to the PS3, and I think I might actually get that version because motion controls be damned.
I was going to say the second one is supposedly the one to get, and then I was wondering if this is coming to Switch, if it is going to have the motion controls, because that was a part of it. That was an integral part of it with
That's true.
on the Wii. So who knows?
Yeah. So I'm excited to see this. Suda51 has a very interesting take when it comes to games. Like Chainsaw Lollipop was...
Lollipop Chainsaw.
Or Lollipop Chainsaw, right? Yeah. Very weird game.
Close that phone book. What's a phone book?
Yeah.
All right, never mind.
The Yellow Pages, So that should wrap us up for the news. And I'm going to hand it over not to Jack for this week, but to Colin, who's going to read us a Would You Rather for this week.
Okay, so let me preface a little bit, just a little bit.
Uh-oh.
So how much would you say that you travel or you plan to travel?
Enough.
Okay.
For me, I don't know. I like traveling. It's just fine. Maybe like once a year I'll take a vacation or something.
Okay. So I don't know. So you probably would say you travel just as much as you need to, right?
Pretty much. Yeah. I'm not a big, there's so much to see and do here. Like I need to figure out Austin before I start going elsewhere.
Is this a misdirect? Does the question have nothing to do with traveling?
Yeah, what are you doing?
No, it has to do with traveling. I just was kind of getting a gauge of how much time you guys spend traveling, for that matter. So my would you rather is, and I put a little bit of thought in this, hopefully it goes over well, but this is completely original would you rather. I didn't pull this from anywhere.
Proud of you.
Yes,
good job.
Me too. Thank you. So, would you rather only be able to travel by car, but live twice as long, or have the ability to teleport and only live half as long?
As what? As like the average human life?
Like an average human life.
So like
yes.
let's say like 55 years or 50 years, and you can teleport anywhere, or live 200 years plus and just have to drive everywhere.
Right. So you couldn't fly. You couldn't go overseas via ship.
Question. Could I drive my car into a ferry and then the ferry carry me while I'm in my car?
I can't even like imagine that. Like, I would never even imagine that loophole.
Hey, the rules are rules.
I guess so. Yeah, he's got a point.
I mean, I guess it's palpable.
Okay.
Palpable and tangible.
Okay, so another important question I have for this. When you say live half as long or live twice as long, so does that mean like let's say I'm living half as long. At the age of 40, am I an 80-year-old by like physiology, or am I a 40-year-old who's going to die in 10 years?
You're a 40-year-old who's going to die in 10 years, the way I think.
Yeah, I'll be a little bit more forgiving. So let's just say, yeah, you age normally, but like... Yeah.
Then imagine what you look like when you're 200.
When you're 200, are you
like
just
a clump on the ground?
Yeah.
Okay, so let I guess I can make an exception there just to make it a little bit more forgiving. So like, if you're living to be like 200, you're gonna age like half as fast.
Okay, fair enough. Whatever. Okay, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I really don't like driving that much.
Okay, so teleportation. Is there a limit? What are the rules?
So teleportation, like, I mean, obviously you can teleport anywhere on the Earth that is like no, you can't like obviously travel somewhere that's like, oh, hey, I want to travel to the center of the Earth or somewhere like crazy
on the surface
off
of the
the
Earth,
wall,
basically.
underground. Yeah, basically on the surface of the Earth, like the known geography of the Earth.
Do I need to have been there before? Like, is this a fast travel video game kind of a thing? Or like, can I just think, I want to go to London?
No.
Are there towers you need to like unlock like compounds?
No, yeah, you have to climb all the towers in London and like synchronize them.
I need to synchronize. Okay.
Yeah.
Are there like piles of hay I need to jump into?
So is the teleportation instant? Basically, like literally 1 second you're here, next second you're there.
But that's a weird question.
Yes.
Of course. What other teleportation is there?
I mean, it's teleportation. Yeah.
See, here's the move. Okay.
Instant transmission. Dragon Ball Z.
All right,
do you have a verdict yet, or you still got questions?
Oh, I know my verdict, but I'm willing to ask more questions.
I really hate driving a lot. I don't know if I have any questions. I'm just sitting there thinking like, which one would I rather do?
Okay. The next question. If I chose teleportation, could I still drive? Could I still get on a plane? Could I still do other forms of transportation?
Yeah, but why would you want to?
I mean,
exactly.
But, but here's the thing. There is some merit to like going on a drive.
Oh, well, yeah, if you want to do it for leisure, that's one thing. But if you're trying to do it, your daily commute, or you're traveling across the world and you don't want to pay travel expenses or something like that.
Okay. This may be my final question, but I'm not 100% because my mind's kind of going. Let's say I want to take a 3-week vacay to like Tokyo. I pack my bags, pack my suitcases, and I teleport. Does the suitcase come with me, or do I need to FedEx, ship that?
Good question. Yeah, if you're holding something, does it come with you?
Only what you can carry.
Oh, you can carry a lot. You carry your significant other.
Yeah, if the instant transmission is less than a second, I can carry whatever I need to.
Well, yeah, exactly. And the thing, here, think about this. And then plus you have teleportation, so you could like come back and just make multiple trips. I mean, shit. Right. You could be like, oh, hey, I feel like spending the night in Tokyo. Fuck it, why not? Like, you know what I mean?
So I think we might be drawn to a conclusion here. So
yeah,
I don't know if I want to be that old. Like, I don't know, like, I would run out of things to do or want to do. And then, of course, we talked about this before, like, everyone would be kind of dead around you, too. Mm-hmm. So, like, it's almost like, I mean, it would be scary, but it would be a much more fulfilling life, I think, if you lived half as long. So, we were saying, 50? And you got to teleport. Because the first place I'm going is Floyd Mayweather's, like, bank. Right? Oh my god! That's the first place I'm teleporting.
Dude, you could do a lot of shit with teleportation, and that's the thing. Like when I say live half as long, right? Because you just don't have to spend any time at all on transportation and getting to places. You can just be there.
Yeah.
So you would never really play Switch then. That cuts in your Switch. That cuts in your Switch time.
I still need to poop. I still need to poop.
No, so. Dude. But the thing is, you can play your Switch fucking anywhere.
You need to be Jack, you need to be holding it. I don't know about you, but I'm not a fan of holding my poop.
But the thing that's another like that's so gross. I can't even think right now. That's another benefit though of being able to teleport is you never have to wait for the bathroom. You never have to wonder where the bathroom is because you could always just teleport to your bathroom and then go back to the grocery aisle. Like, within seconds.
Can you watch my card for me? I need to go back home. It's like,
and poop.
How long are you going to be? Just 5 minutes. Just don't worry about it.
Oh, man. That's funny. No, I think I'd have to take that. The brightest star burns the shortest amount of time. I lost it.
Yeah, the brightest flame burns quickest.
Okay, yeah.
So let's extrapolate a little bit because Jack mentioned like the whole if I live 200 years, everyone around me dies. Now, what if this were a world where everyone makes this decision? Like you reach 18 and then like Yahweh, God, Allah kind of just speaks in your head and is like, hello, you have reached the age of 18. Would you like to drive everywhere but live for basically forever? Or teleport wherever you want, but live half as long.
Choose your spec tree right now.
Right. So this is a world where you you go to the bars and you talk to people. It's like, oh, hey, how are you? What's your path in life? Oh, I'm the teleporter. So, I don't live as long as you probably, but hey, I get wherever I want to faster.
What do you say to that?
Okay. If this is a world like that, then I think the 200-year-old thing wouldn't be so bad because you just need to find a club. You need to find a support group.
That's a lot of ifs, Robert.
Yeah, man.
This is Would You Rather. This is a game all about ifs.
No, this is all serious, hardcore. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I'm sticking with my original answer. I think I would teleport. Teleportation is too attractive a power.
Oh, same.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Like, I would definitely give up half my life to just go anywhere I want instantly.
Like, I can almost actually pull off the Goku like instant transmission Kamehameha shit. Like that in and of itself is so worth it. Just the idea of like cosplay as Goku, cosplay that scene, and then actually disappear, and people are like, "What the fuck? Where'd he go? What the shit?"
Dude, and you could also cosplay as Frodo from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
do the bar scenes like, "Oh, he disappeared."
Would be cool. That would be cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah. Do you guys want to add anything else, or is that it?
No, I mean, it's I don't know. Like, I wanted to make it kind of cut and dry. I didn't want to make it too crazy, but I am proud that I made that up myself.
Everyone give a round of applause.
You cannot see it or hear it, but I'm giving a thumbs up.
What sound does a thumbs up make?
This sound.
Deep.
Yes. If a thumb goes up and no one's there to see it, does it make a sound?
Wait, if you give a... okay desu.
So
no, like what sound does it make when you hit the like button on Facebook? Is it sound isn't like a pop?
I don't know what Facebook is, so I never go there. So it's a place I hear.
It's similar to Netflix. You'll figure it out.
Justin Timberlake invented it. That's what I know. So
you can only do thumbs up and thumbs down on Netflix now. So
I don't know what Netflix is either. I got a lot to learn, guys. This is the week I become a man.
All right, next week we'll talk about Facebook at length.
Guys, thank you again for listening. We appreciate our audience. We appreciate just you guys spreading the word again. If you like this podcast and it enriches your life in any way, just let your friends know. This is the way we promote. This is the way we get bigger. And so we have listeners in Europe as well as across America, and it's growing every day. So every week. So we appreciate you guys. If you have any responses to Would You Rather, or you have any ideas for Would You Rather that you'd like us to read on the podcast, you can email us at tinydiscpodcast@gmail.com.
Mm-hmm. You can also tweet that to us at tinydiscpodcast or use the hashtag tinydisc, not hashtag TDP. Please, if you do enjoy the show, leave us a review on iTunes. No matter where you get your podcast from, iTunes reviews do help us a lot. And we also now have a YouTube channel at Tiny Disc. So we're uploading our podcast there if YouTube is your preferred channel for like listening to stuff. And we'll be uploading a bunch of clips there as well, for if you want to show your friends kind of like, oh, this one funny scene that we did or something, you can probably check it out there. You can find us on Facebook. We have a Tiny Disc group, and we also have a Tiny Disc page that you can like, and we usually leave our updates there. Colin, you have a small update to give about the Facebook group?
Oh, yeah. So the Tiny Disc Facebook group, I used to do live hangout Q&As every Tuesday. night in the Facebook group. I no longer will be able to do those due to scheduling conflicts. So I will be coming up with some sort of alternative. Until then, I will be just posting updates about the show in the Facebook group just to tie you guys over until I figure out what that alternative idea is.
So yeah, thanks again for listening to this whole episode of the Tiny Disc Podcast, and we'll see you next Thursday.